Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Oyele Olawale. We're back here at the ACC Super Zonal Chess Championship 2025. And this game started completely like 3 days ago. And quickly, let us talk about the sponsors as fast as possible and the partners. We have FIDE partnering, and we have the ACC also, who is the mother body of the African Chess Federation, the continent itself, and we have the National Sports Commission, who is also part of the partners and sponsors of this event. We have Chess in Slums, also wonderful. Thank you very much to Okoya and his team. And we have City Heights Luxury Hotel, and I believe the Vice President of Nigerian Chess Federation, in person of Prince Adewola Adeyinka, said a lot about how immenseful and how wonderful City Heights has been towards growing chess in Nigeria, especially in Lagos at the moment. So City Heights is where to be if you want to be treated like a chief, president, important personnel. If you want, just be here. NCF, thank you very much. And Rights Food. I've been filling my belly with lots of biggie products recently. Took the lemon. I think I love the lemon and lime product of the Rights Food. This is a very wonderful drink, especially when superbly cold, like mortuary standard. It was fantastic. I used it in munching bread yesterday. I think I'll probably do the same. Do the same today. Yesterday, yes, I'll do the same thing today. It's becoming something that I'll make it a 3-unit course. I must not be carrying it on a daily basis. And finally, we go to the game page. And guess what? I'm here with my wonderful analyst in person of Lakpite Oluwadurotemi, aka Master of Slowest Play. But wait, how did he even get the title Master of Slowest Play?
No idea.
You have no idea. Who brought it up? Who brought the Master of? I know there is Master of Complications. Nathan Flo usually calls himself Master of Complications. But how come you got the Master of Slowest Play? Because you didn't get it before now. It was when you started mixing with people from the Hockey Lekki Chess Club. That's where that name came from. Yes, I think so. So who exactly gave you that name, Master of Slowest Play?
Yeah, the name is like rather ironic because I'm like the fastest player in West Africa. So it's really strange. Fastest player in West Africa.
Yes, that's true. That's true. He's the fastest player in West Africa. Yes, of course. Let us the Zone 4.2 Blitz Championship. He won back, and even the National Friends of Chess last year. Was it? There was a Blitz competition that you won recently. Was it?
I think it was the Richard Asibo.
The Richard Asibo Blitz event, which you also won. Yes, Richard Asibo. Thank you. So Richard Asibo, you won, and. So he's fast, relatively fast. So Master of Slowest Play. I guess that comes from you always down on time in your classical matches.
Maybe.
Yes, somebody said it sometimes ago that if you are playing like with Olato Tumi, once you play E4, just know he's going to spend 25 minutes before he plays C6. Anyways, that's by the way. So we quickly delve into the games. Yesterday we saw a spectacular upset. Yes, I want to call it upset between women international master Nassr Lina, who was able to defeat FIDE master Abdulrahman Abdulraheem. It's a painful defeat for Nigerians, but it was a beautiful game to watch from a spectator, a chess fan point of view. You're looking at the game when you're looking at the individual. It was a fantastic game. And King F8 is going to be causing lots of nightmares for Abdulrahman Abdulraheem. Anytime he remembers anything, King F8. Anytime somebody just moves a random King F8, he's going to remember, oh my goodness, on the 14th of April. No. I don't want to play anything King F8 anymore in my entire life. Anyways, it was a fantastic game. If you missed the stream yesterday, you have to go check it, and you can see how a little bit downcast our guest analyst was, when he was analyzing the King F8 terrible blunder. Anyways, lo and behold, we have exciting games again today, and today Abdulrahman is playing.
Yeah.
Against
Sorry, but before we delve into the games, I wanted us to update on what the standings are.
Yeah, the standings. Quite all right. Apologies as regards. Quickly, if I'm going to check the standings right now, we have two people are actually leading the event. Two people are actually we have Olisa Tennyson is leading. Of course, it's still the top seed. We'll just quickly just go down to see. Tennyson is leading with possible 5 points out of a six, and Nassr Lina is also on 5 points out of six or so, and we have 4 points for Abdulrahman Abdulraheem, who have to play catch up right now. The WGM Wafashuk, who escaped from the jaws of defeat yesterday due to the time from this wonderful 16-year-old Cote d'Ivoire player, WCM Ayemao Mazani Manuela, and then the girl busted into tears after she flagged. It was she was winning, and all of a sudden, so those painful moments. Have you ever had a winning position? I mean, and you had to lose on time?
Yes. Although it was not as consequential, the game against Femi Balogun in the Blitz tournaments that we played, I had like maybe a piece up or something like that, and then I just panicked and lost one time.
Oh God, it's so crazy. So
but that was a Blitz game.
But you can understand their emotions. No, I think it happens. I've seen it happen. As from the arbiter's point of view, I've seen it happen in classical. People actually flagging in a classical event, and
yeah, but in a
completely winning position.
Very
just
rare.
you are trying to you just see your opponent start saying, "Oh well, thank God." That's kind of it's going to be painful, and we can see, like we said, the standing. So now the fights. Interestingly, we're going to be having Olisa Tennyson versus Nassr Lina at the final round of this event. That's interestingly. That's going to be. We don't know where they're going to take or what they're going to be at that point. But Nassr Lina is not going to find any funny because she'll be playing against Ofowono Torishemuwa, and she'll also be playing against Sulaiman Azumi. And last person is going to be Olisa Tennyson. 3 not too soft matches that she's going to be facing in the next 3 rounds. But anyways, these are the standings as you can see at the moment, and we can quickly delve into the games as fast as possible. We can't wait for like we tell you to me to show us the moves as it is from the beginning, and let's get ahead with it.
Yeah, so okay, we'll try as much as possible to break it down as the action has happened. So interestingly, I was looking at the game during my trip here, and I saw that this exact variation we talked about has happened. I think this happened in round 1 of this tournament. Here where the Grunfeld was played, the Rook B1 Grunfeld.
Yes, Rook B1.
Yes, and then we were talking about how White usually sacrifices this C3 pawn by playing pawn to D5.
Yeah.
But and here Black took the pawn. I think in the previous game we looked at, I believe maybe it was Knight A5.
Knight A5 was played.
Yes, Knight A5 was played.
It was played immediately.
Yeah, and then it was followed up by I think Queen D2, followed by pawn to C4, and then maybe Bishop B2 or something like that, or maybe it was Knight E5. Maybe Knight E5, Knight captures, Bishop captures, and then Queen D2, trying to get the center. So here in this game, WCM Ayemu played the move Bishop captures on C3, which is not a very common move because you would have to give up this dark square bishop, this important dark square bishop.
For a pawn.
But actually, she just immediately gave up the pawn. She didn't even try to
turn the pawn back. She didn't hold on to the pawn. And so this just makes the position so simple for White, I believe, at the moment, because I remember when playing I think the Sicilian. I think the Sicilian, yes, it requires after the pawn takes, knight takes. And then they actually said knight takes and queen takes, allowing the queen to take in the center, centralizing the queen in the center of the board in the beginning of the game. It's a very, very bad idea for Black. Now, in this scenario, the queen is at the center of the board. There is nothing that can chase the queen away. The king is going to castle in the next few moves, and black is just back there. All these pieces are back there. So
So I heard you talking about castling. It's also possible not to castle. For example,
queen check.
we know that this dark square bishop, which is a very. By the way, if you want to get an explanation of the opening, maybe you can check out the stream on in the earlier rounds, and you get an explanation of this Grunfeld opening chosen by black. But one of the things is the bishop on g7 is the main defender of the black king. But now that the black king is so open, is lacking that defender. It's possible to even play for an attack with h4, h5,
We start.
keeping this king in the center,
Ah.
yeah, and then just trying to open up the h file, or maybe possibly pushing the pawn to h6. Although maybe just castling, maybe just opening the h file is a much better way to play that variation. So also because of this excellent center and the fact that black's pieces are black king is far away from the center, it's also possible after queen a5. Of course, it's possible to just go into an end game and play the move queen to d2 and go into an end game. So yes, I feel it's a very interesting. I feel maybe white has already gained some sort of opening advantage. So queen a4 was played, rook b4. Now, white might be trying to decide between, for example, a move like rook to c4, saying, all right, I want to play an end game, or could even decide that, all right, I'm not even interested in this end game anymore. I just want to. You have wasted a lot of time. Only your queen is in the game. I'm just going to play for the attack, and I'm ready for the attack, and your pieces are not ready to enter into the game. The bishop is not clear where the bishop wants to go to, and all those sorts of things. All right, so h4 was played in the spirit. Well, let me see how many minutes is spent here. Spent about 2 minutes to play h4. I, on the other hand, probably would have spent like 30 minutes here trying to decide.
Trying to live up to your name.
Trying to decide, I mean, if to play the end game with rook to c4 or to go for the attack with h4. I'll be trying to weigh, like, where do my chances lie? Like, where is the best place for me to play this? But Abdulrahman is known for attack. So he did not even hesitate. He played the move h4, living up to the name. H4 trying to play for an attack. F5, black is trying to counter in the center, but it's not really clear how much this gets us, because it's going to be followed up with e5, of course. You are not going to give black the opportunity to capture and create some open files for his rook and some diagonals for his bishop, for example. This would be a completely horrendous move. The bishop comes into the game, the rook comes into the game, and black, I believe, should be okay. So, of course, Abdulrahman just pushed the pawn to e5. And if there is no tactical... if there is nothing to be worried about in terms of tactics, then this is just excellent for white. The two central pawns and the possibility of playing h4, opening up the black position is good for white. Well, the only thing is that you have to be careful that there is no maybe rook d8, bishop e followed by bishop e6 trying to win the pawn. As long as those type of tactical ideas don't work, then white is just crushing. Yeah. Okay, so like I said, rook d8, bishop e6, rook d8, something taking on d5. Of course, taking on d5 now maybe it's not advised, except you want to do an exchange sacrifice. For example, rook here, and then maybe continue it with bishop e6, and then continue it with bishop e6. Okay, maybe that's a possibility, and you want to do an exchange sacrifice. Hoping that it's enough compensation. But okay, e5, rook d8, and here Abdulrahman is still thinking, which is really strange. Earlier, before playing the move e5, he spent quite some time. So I would have expected that he would have figured out what exactly he wants to do rook d after rook d8. But maybe he's also considering different options. Maybe h5, just ignoring this pawn and trying to open up the king, trying to see if this is the way to go. Or maybe bishop is trying to look at. Sorry, let me make a move on the board. He's trying to look at it that should he spend a tempo defending this pawn on d5. But I'm looking at it. Probably his idea will be to play h5. I think this is most likely what he's looking at playing, the move pawn to h5. Although they are safe moves for black, I think rook to d4 is a safe move, just exchanging queens and getting into an endgame. I believe, for example, let's make some moves on the board. Queen captures, king captures, and then with this central pawn mass, the rook coming to the c file, these central pawns, I think white is just crushing here. White is just crushing here. However, we said Abdulrahman is known as the attack. So is it possible that he's also thinking about h5? So what do you think? Which one would you go for? Would you go for the move rook to d4, getting into an endgame where the white pawns, central pawns are nice, they stop, you can play f4, making sure that this bishop doesn't come out, then this rook can come to c1 and white looks happy? Or would you instead play the move pawn to h5, playing for an attack against just ignoring everything and just opening up the position, trying to play for an attack against, there is even maybe possibility of some sacrifices where you play captures, and then rook to h8, of course, maybe not. Maybe this is too much. And queen to h6 and trying to play for some insane attack here. Of course, the king has to move because of this pin.
Well, for someone like me, I don't like complications. The easy way out. In school, I think one of the reasons why I love mathematics when I was in my secondary school days was just when it comes to simplify. I'm there. When it comes to start, nah. And if you even notice in my own kind of style of play, I'm not the kind of complicating positions. I just take it to that slight advantage and just milk it away from there. You get, but that's why I usually get impressed when I see players like Abdulrahman and everybody. Just simplify it and just go over and make it much more complicated because, well, some people understand the language of complication, which is, I don't know. But me, like I said, the easy just rook back to d4. Let's exchange the queens. Let's take it nice and slow. Even after the rook e4, you're still able to play the h5. Just the rook takes and you swing. Probably take the rook swing from that side if you want to. But if you don't want to, just like you said, move the bishop out, move the king out, move the other rook to c1, and you can just easily just move on from there. I think another way of moving the rook also could also be instead of I think the rook can also move from h1. You want to go, you want to get to the c file, right? So you can also go to rook h3 and just slide it over to c3.
Well, if you want to play, if you are keeping queens on board,
I'm saying no, I'm not talking about.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying after you exchanging the queens, the king is going to.
Oh, okay.
c2. You can bring the c1, or you can dance around rook h3, rook to c3. So it's also possible.
So we will quickly go to the game between Wafa Shuk and Hachim Bacha because it looks as if some developments have happened, and we should, before score sheets are signed, probably we should just quickly look at the game. e4, e5. Wafa is white. She's seeking a win. She's playing catch up to WIM Lina. Yes.
And Tennyson.
Yes, and well. Yes,
oh yes, no. I think a major. What's it called? Catch up right now should be Lina.
Yes,
I don't think that's something
so
to do with it. Yeah.
She just has to win all her games and then hope that it is enough to
qualify.
Yes, to catch up with Lina because she'll be playing for wins in all her games and be praying for Lina to at least lose some points along the way.
And before now, hold on. Before now, she has not been playing. Has she played any E4?
Yeah, I've not been to, but I think maybe she's an E4 player. And also, if she manages to catch up on points with WIM Lina because of our win against the WIM, I think she'll be the favorite.
Yes, on the head-to-head.
Yes,
yeah, the
yes.
direct encounter. Yes, I think she played E4. I think it was Sicilian. She was the one that released Sulaiman Azumi from the Sicilian bind.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
it was E4.
from the Karokan bind.
From the Karokan bind.
Yeah.
Apologies. Yeah, sure. Yes,
So
yes.
E4, E5, knight F3, D6, D4. This is like a FIDE. G6. Not the most common move, I think, in this position, but it's known. It's playable. A4, trying to prevent any ideas of B5. Knight BD7. So white has some space advantage, and it's just bringing his pieces to the best squares possible. Of course, you want to avoid the exchange of
the bishop.
Yes.
Powerful bishop.
The bishop is powerful, and also one day this knight actually is not stable on the E5 square. You might want to
kick it away.
Yeah, with pawn to F4 at some point in time. H6 was played. Bishop H4, keeping the pin. Also possible to just bring the bishop, I think, to C1 actually. Maybe because you want to be on this diagonal, so there are some places where you want to provoke this move, pawn to H6, and just return, and then slowly build it up again. Play H3 actually. Play H3, bishop back to E3, queen to D2, and then trying to say, okay, I've slightly weakened you on this king side, but okay, she plays bishop H4, pawn to A6, probably preparing to play some B5 at some point, but
it can't be played yet.
Yeah, WIM.
She just can play stop
WGM Wafa just says no. I'm also going to take control of the B6 square, so that if you ever push any of these pawns, I'm going to capture, and you are going to be left with some weaknesses on the dark squares. The pawns are going to be weak, and I'm going to be better. So already you get the feeling that white is just much better here. Castles was played. Pawn to F4, as we discussed earlier, you want to kick this knight away from this square. This knight doesn't have any stable squares. In fact, I'm beginning to feel already like white is just crushing. C5 was played. Well, I think maybe this was probably the only good choice, because if you had to go back to, let's say, D7, you can see that white is just enjoying a space advantage. All the spaces are looking very, very menacing. Yeah. You start to consider moves like pawn to F5 to F6 winning for, which should be winning for white. Luckily, we have good chess players in the house. The great CM.
Candidate Master Onokpite Kennedy in the house.
Yeah, he was showing us some ideas yesterday when his great better half was playing the end game. He showed us the ideas before they even happened on the board. It seemed like they were in sync.
Of course, of course.
So yeah, welcome to the house. Yeah.
Thank you.
So we're looking at knight in there. We're saying if the knight went back to D7.
Yeah, we're saying if the knight goes back to D7, it's just going to probably be crushing. There's probably F7, F6, all these kind of things. You can even slow play it. This looks very terrible for black. All the pieces are just in the house and not doing anything great. So after F5, C5.
So C5 has a play.
Yeah, but I was considering, was it possible to just bring the knight back and but maybe the knight starts to get some squares. The knight goes to C6 and starts to get some good squares. So maybe it was ideal to just capture.
Wait, sorry.
Okay, let's go back. So, for
I'm
example, if knight to2, knight maybe here, or even no, knight.
Bishop takes E7.
Okay, bishop takes E7.
And then no, before all of this.
Oh, okay.
Instead of going back, bishop takes E7.
Okay.
Knight D5.
Okay, queen E7, knight D5.
Before we think of what to do with our hanging knight.
Okay, so the queen goes back to d8.
Has to go back.
Okay, is it possible to win a pawn? No, it's not.
Take and
No, but
okay.
I was thinking this, and a win. Okay, it doesn't even win a pawn. I thought the queen was here, and then you can do like a discovered attack.
There's a lot. There's a lot there. Knight
Yeah.
into b6, and
But-
all those things.
Yeah.
There's a lot there. So whichever way.
Hold on, go back.
But the problem is that the white position has somehow, and black position has somehow been relieved of some pressure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. So after the whole knight d5 queen back thing, we would have to drop our knight back.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
idea was to exchange the
Yeah.
bishop for the knight that would be useful. Even if, okay, we can exchange because b2 would hang.
Yeah. It won't be so easy. It won't be so easy because after the knight comes to d4, somehow the
c6,
c3. You mean?
c3. Rather.
Yeah, but somehow the pieces are starting to come. The pieces that looked like they were inside the house and caged, they're starting to look
Well,
slightly alive.
you have to decide what you want.
Slightly alive.
I'm assuming. There's a problem. The pawn on a5 is hanging.
Yeah, Pawn Grabbers Association. Well, you're in the club. You're in the club.
Pawns are the soul of chess.
Pawns Grabbers Association. Because I was looking at that pawn and my head was already like, what's going on here?
There's a problem.
Yeah.
What's going on
It's
here?
possible to go knight b6 and knight c4, but then I'm not sure I like my bishop on b3.
On
anymore.
b3. Yeah. So okay, let's see how Wafa decided to handle the position after pawn captures.
Yeah. Took, pawn takes. The knight d5.
making use of the pin. Yeah, I think this is good.
Knight d5.
Forcing g4.
Forcing
G4.
the knight f6.
Knight.
Check. Forces the bishop to take.
Beautiful.
He's not taking.
He doesn't have to.
He did not.
Yeah, but the king will be too open.
Yeah.
If takes
Yeah.
takes.
Takes.
Takes knight g6.
The queen. No, your queen h5 is looming.
Things coming. If knight moves queen h5,
If
Yeah.
knight move queen h5 immediately, and there's that's mating. That's mating.
mate in a few.
Mating.
Yeah, you have to give up your queen.
You have to
avoid
just
checkmate.
donate. No, you have to donate your coin.
You are not avoiding checkmate. The rook just takes your queen and
Yeah.
it still
But
mates.
maybe king h7 and then you.
Then bishop takes g5 and we can go home.
Okay.
Lights out.
And yeah, so this was an elegant solution by WGM Wafa, just making
Yeah.
use of the pin and continuing without any just knight f6 check.
Bishop takes immediately. That's what you're
Bishop
going
takes.
Takes.
Takes
and-
because queen is.
There's no need.
Yeah.
This is wait. Was it more than? Please let it be less than 20 moves. I'm just.
No, the game went on after pawn to h4, not even relenting. Then
Takes.
bishop captures.
Takes.
Bishop
Takes.
captures.
Takes. Queen check.
captures.
Rook check. Rook captures. Oh. Ah,
this-
Mr. Bacham. Muhammad Bachar
Yeah,
Achim.
so
this
this was
is.
just a clean-up job.
This,
and,
look at the rook lift. Did you see the
yeah,
rook
yeah,
lift?
the
That
rook
was a
lift.
beautiful rook lift.
the rook lift was very nice.
That was a beautiful rook lift.
You want to get to the g3 square, so rook here and rook here.
Oh no.
Excellent. And this attack is
Not really
just
necessary. Though. Queen g5 check.
no, but the every
This is
Everything works.
yeah. So
And,
yeah. So like I said, we wanted to quickly look at the game before the game ended because it
And-
was looking over.
we actually did.
Yeah, so this was a very clean game by WFM Wafa. She just crushed got an opening advantage from the opening.
Bringing a bazooka to
And-
knife fight.
Yeah, this
No. It's like this. It's just like this. You
Yes.
watch those Chinese movies where the main guy wants to fight and they ask them to choose their weapon. And you see, most of the time, you see the baddest of the baddest will just pick a spoon or pick a broom, that kind of a thing. And oh, watcha! But but in this case, it was like, come on, what are you doing? This is a gun. This is a real bazooka versus a knife. Oh, come on, it's total. The same way he actually, the same way Bachim sorry, Achim Muhammad was able to, it did onto one of our players, with the Stonewall setup. Now, of course, he has gotten it back from. Thanks for revenging for us. Thank you very much, WGM.
I can see some things that happened on the Abdulrahman, but so I'll quickly go there to see what's the solution to the problem.
Check. I
So
think
the
we agreed.
position was so rook d4, h4. We looked at it up to this place. So he played queen to b2, keeping
That
everything.
you can't take that pawn.
Well, you can take it, but
You can't take it.
You can
Bishop
take it.
c4.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
There's
Okay.
Bishop c4.
That is why we are saying you can't take it.
Yes, you can sacrifice the exchange.
Oh, you can make an extra sacrifice. That's what you're trying to say.
I'm sorry, I don't understand why we are doing this.
Can you understand?
Why didn't he just play? Was there a reason he didn't just play bishop f3?
Now,
Yes, instead of queen b2, or was there a possible e6?
After rook d8, bishop f3.
you want him to play bishop f3 immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was looking
there-
at
was there
the possibility
possible-
of bishop e6.
Okay. I
maybe.
was even thinking of e6 directly.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
Because,
because I want to bring this rook to. But because
no,
if you
play
play,
bishop e6, then I can play rook d4 defending. But
Yeah,
if
but
you
if you
play
play e6,
I can't push.
you can't
That's
push the
idea.
pawn because of the
Okay.
queen captures on b5.
That's probably what he saw. Okay.
So he ended up playing
Queen b2.
queen b2, keeping an eye on
pawn
the
can't yet be taken.
yes,
But
and he has the
why
time.
not e6 now?
e6 now.
As in after queen b2,
Queen b2 was happening
queen
again.
what's
b2
stopping
happened.
e6 now?
e6.
E6 was
Yeah,
played,
but now he can
Yes.
protect the pawn. He can play d6. The queen is protected.
Okay.
The
and
pawn.
that pawn becomes a real pain in the neck, and it's almost lights out for the young lady.
Yeah. It's not clear. If once your opponent has played queen b2, the intention is that you wants to meet e6 with d6. So I'm puzzled that you still play e6.
You still play d6.
Yeah, you'll probably be looking for something else to try to bring the pieces into the game.
Interestingly,
Something like what?
after the d6,
f5.
I mean, I'd even consider bishop e6. I might,
In
like,
this
I would
position.
consider it. I would not. It's not like I'll play it, but I'll consider it. Well, okay, my idea at first was, but it doesn't work at all. My idea at first was pawn takes and then rook d4. Making use of the pin or something like that. But there are so many ways. A3, queen
just
captures.
takes.
Yeah. It's not even working at all. So it's not even clear. So bishop e6 can be good. We know e6 can be good. So what was the way? Maybe bishop d7.
Maybe the only way out is b6.
b6.
Because the king is probably the white king is probably trying to run away to f1. So it would be nice to have bishop a6.
Okay, bishop a6. Bishop d5, bishop a6.
Or bishop b7.
Yeah, putting some pressure. It seems like that's a better way to play, yeah, than this e6 stuff. This e6 stuff looks like you are just.
Okay. I'm so sorry. Jimmy Ogulana, special shout out to Jimmy Ogulana, also known as Nigerian Machine, right on Lichess, if I believe, and he's one of the highest rated bullets players in Nigeria.
In the world.
Let's
Or
put Nigeria.
at least
first.
in Africa.
Let's just limit it to Nigeria.
No. It's
because-
actually one of the best in
it's
Africa.
2-7
Is it in
clubs,
Africa?
right?
Yeah,
It's just 7.
Yeah.
We should add him to Africans list there because one of the best in Africa. Jimmy Ogulano, thank you very much for joining. I think he's studying medicine. Is he a doctor? I'm trying to remember. I don't think so. But let's not go there.
Last
We'll
time
get out.
It was at Yabatek.
Anyway.
Okay, so also to Safi Creative, thank you very much for joining. We really appreciate you. And you're actually saying the rook d4 is a clear cut way. Which rook d4
Instead
is
of queen b2,
instead of queen b2?
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He-
Yeah.
he's
Where
saying-
After e5, then rook d4.
I was asking Chief Wales that what Abdulrahman is thinking now. Is it considering the possibility of rook d4, or is it thinking that he wants to just sacrifice this
The
pawn
pawns
and
are
play h5?
quite advanced,
So, but
so it will be difficult to defend if you exchange your only developed pieces of the board.
no, but if you play,
Like
you
if
mean rook
d4,
d4? Yeah.
Black would happily exchange queens.
Okay. Rook d4.
And then,
But how
remember,
do you attack? They can't attack because the rooks are actually coming into the game, and in fact, it's the white pieces that are looking more developed. How do you can't rook c1
Well,
is coming, is your
you don't-
is the black pieces
you
that
don't
are
have play. You still have to go b6, bishop b7, and quickly. So whichever way, it is clear that black needs to exchange as many pieces as possible. If not, I mean, both to relieve himself of the pressure and also because of his potential queenside majority. You know, so let's just make life a little bit hard for him by keeping the pieces on the board, I think.
e5, rook d8, queen b2, e6, d6,
d6.
bishop d7, and
This was probably what
castles.
black was hoping for. At least he gets to develop his bishop. But
Yeah, but
pass pawn is-
this pawn completely limits these two rooks. It's almost, and worst of all is that this king also is just very open. It feels like once you can free yourself of defending this rook, the queen appearing on any of these dark squares is just going to spell the end of the game. Yeah. So b6,
Uh-oh.
h5, b6
If
is
you are
so
going
slow.
to go b6, why bother with bishop
Yeah,
b7?
b6 protecting the pawn is so sad. It's so sad. I feel really sad watching this game. Yeah, because no, you can't play like this. No, you can't play like this. This is too much. You know, at some point, okay, so
Well, the poor lady has been under serious pressure for a while now, so
yeah, but the question now is, what is the, cleanest way to try to, cash in your advantage, or do you just continue to build the pressure and then maybe you don't
think
cash
he
in, right?
needs
You just
to-
continue to build.
Right now, white pawns as well. Okay, there's f4. There's f4. Okay.
But instead, wait,
So,
sorry, after.
Otherwise, they become a bit vulnerable.
But I'm confused about this. After
A4.
b6, which is such a slow move, couldn't you just take over the c file and just win easily like that?
Just rook to
With
c,
what?
like rook
Like
to c1.
rook c1.
Rook
It
to
will
c1.
just lead to massive exchanges. The bishop on d7 controls e8. So
Yeah, but with this pawn and with the king, you are just. I don't see how you're not just winning here. Like, let's say rook c1, rook c8,
c1,
and then
c8.
even just rook c4. Like, just this way. How exactly is.
Take. Rooks. Relax.
No, bishop f1.
There's a bishop b5 there.
No, UK, bishop b5, whatever it is.
Bishop
Rooks.
b5.
Bishop b5 is good.
B5,
Bishop b.
No. You just go rook c1 and then you have the file for life. Okay.
So there is,
So he has to continue exchanging with rook c8.
Okay, rook c8
And
is
then
made.
I don't know. I think black is happy with the exchanges.
queen c2.
Black
Queen
is
c2.
But this is such a
queen
winning
c2.
end.
Where does it go?
This is such a winning end game for.
After
What are you doing there? What are you doing there? What are you doing there?
Sorry.
Queen c2, please.
queen c2 and
Yeah, it's not clear. Like, even if you have to exchange, queens, it can't be a good. This is just. It has to be a trivially winning. Has to be a trivially winning end game. Like this.
no. Takes bishop b5.
Yeah, this is just over. So that looks clean. So I'm not really sure. Like, just everything is so bad. It's so bad. This pawn is just cramping. It's just cramping. This pawn is just cramping.
Maybe exchange a pair of rooks and take back with the bishop on c8.
This is the pawn that's
So
over
the
here.
bishop comes out to a6.
Is that maybe what?
Maybe exchange a pair of rooks and take back on c8 with the bishop. So the bishop comes out to a6. We just need the black rook to
Exchange
hold on.
and then what?
Take, and then what was wrong with bishop b5 again? Rook c1, right?
Yeah.
In fact, I'm not so sure bishop b5 is so bad anymore.
I mean, the other options are not good.
The
so
idea, what black is hoping for
But-
is some kind of a better.
Okay, so
so let's
what are
say
you-
takes takes.
Okay, takes. There's no hope here. I don't
Queen
see
b5,
it.
queen b4 rather.
I don't see it. Like, this is
Queen b4.
Yeah.
This is so ugly.
You're with the queen b4. Your only aim is to take the pawn on h4.
Yes, that's the diagonal. If I can be going h4, e1, h4, e1, that's some perpetual idea there.
No, there is
I can't.
no
I'm not
h4
even,
e1.
I'm not even buying it.
No,
even
I won't
just a
even
simple
go.
move like
Just
this.
yes.
I am not buying it that much, but you have
Just-
to do something.
Because
You
queen
have-
c4, then that pawn
Because
on
the rook
e6.
endgame is losing, the bishop
Rook
endgame is losing, the
every-
pawn endgame is losing, everything. No, this is too much. This is too much. Anyway, it was a possibility. I just wondered why you even allowed the opponent to have the c file.
Even if you want to cause much more chaos, bishop b4. If you just even don't want removing the bishops, rook attacks. Rook captures
well,
back. Just
Yeah.
and now you can now come back with the rook idea to take the c file. So something.
Yeah,
a little bit
of
possible.
course, white is still much better here. Maybe this move is even the best move, but maybe, but it just looked weird to just give the opponent some hope with the c file.
Oh,
Normally,
black has played now.
yeah, black played rook c8.
Okay.
Yeah, usually I don't even
I'm
like
not
to
sure
give
how white
opponents
is
my
going to
hope with any.
continue this expression on the king side that is
Well,
playing for.
is it possible? If I'm not missing anything, is it possible to start switching to the king side?
G5, h6 ends all.
To play g5,
hostilities.
that means you have to do something about this.
Yeah.
How about wait on the previous?
Capturing doesn't work either because black can always wrestle the h file from you. You don't have enough men.
Yes. No, that's why I didn't want to capture first. I wanted to play the move.
I have a feeling he's hoping to get h6 in before thinking of what next to do.
Okay.
Maybe something like h6, f4, maybe g3 if need be, and then if you could achieve that, I'm sure. It'll be
Okay,
fine.
so h6, and then you play queen d2, sacrifice the rook with queen.
Sacrifice
h5.
what? What
Like-
are we sacrificing? We don't need to sacrifice anything.
No, what I mean is, I'm just. It's always fun to sacrifice your opponent's pieces, but okay. After rook c5, he's already starting to gain some
I'm
counterplay.
suspecting he has f4 ideas in mind. But I don't know if black's pressure on the c file
Okay.
would be enough. Queen d2 immediately.
Now I think I can now understand why you guys are actually saying our mic is not enough. Actually, that background voice that you're hearing now that you are straining to hear is actually Ogushiku Babatunde who sings. Don't worry, he's going to be joining full time, but it's just giving us some interesting hints from the background. Okay, thank you very much.
So this is what the great old teams of Africa was showing us, that the
Rook f8.
rook going to f8 and
Now your rook is hanging. Your rook is hanging. After rook f7 and you check bishop f8, are you sure black is not already winning? Sorry, bishop e8. Queen taking what? Oh, sorry.
So the simple idea is if the rook goes back,
rook was still
if
defending
you go
the
back,
bishop in my
so
mind.
queen takes bishop, threatening queen to g7.
No, but-
to
but-
g7
but-
mate.
but can
The
we
rook
make it
goes back,
work?
then you now come back.
Can we make it work? Rook back to f8.
Rook back to f8.
Oh, sorry.
So queen takes
d7,
d7, and another mate is coming. So and you still have the time to come back to protect the rook. Ooh la la.
all right. So maybe he's considering h6. However, he has to
If you
just
can get h6 in, that would be nice.
he just has to carefully calculate that there is no counterplay or anything like that. Once he's sure, probably he'll make the move. Maybe also after h6, there is also maybe the possibility of rook to c2 or something like that. Just trying to distract.
Why that distraction does not work because of queen c7 immediately.
Queen g5, queen c7.
Yeah,
Queen c7 is completely crushing.
That'd be a pick.
yeah. It's
That's piece drops, mate coming.
so maybe h6 then is the way. Is h6 the way?
Looks like the
The
way.
question is, can he get h6 in? If h6 can happen, then it's much better. Does he have the time?
Hold on a second. Are
Why
we?
Why can't black play g5 or even take on h5.
Or even take on h5, or what did you say?
It's white to play.
It's white to play.
Oh, what did black play? Rook a8.
Yeah, rook c8.
Oh,
Yeah, c8, yeah.
oh, I see.
So h6 is
Okay.
the...
So let's quickly check out all the other games. We have like some games.
Yeah.
Tennyson is playing. Tennyson, one of the co-leaders and leader on tiebreak, is playing a Marco McArnold.
Yeah.
He has the white pieces. Pawn to c4, pawn to d6. Some sort of d4 takes. All right, knight c6, queen d2. Okay, so these ideas are known. Sometimes you just want to play pawn to b3, bishop b2, and this bishop is not blocking the queen as it looks. You want to play b3, bishop b2. Okay, so knight to c3, knight f3, b3, and okay, as promised, the setup. Bishop e2. Okay, both are just developing pieces. Nothing too much to say here. Castles. Knight b4, knight d4, bishop f3, trying to set up some pressure on the black king side. Knight e2. Why knight e2? Okay, maybe he's planning pawn to a3, and then when the knight drops back to capture on c6 and then take the pawn on a5. Okay, knight g4 was played, pawn to a3, knight a6, pawn to g3.
That was my concern when they move e3. The bishop belongs on the long diagonal. Now it has taken you a lot of time to get it to the long diagonal. Instead of e3, g3 was...
And then the bishop is on c3, bishop captures on g4, pawn to f3. So this...
What's going on here?
This is beginning to look strange. Okay, so let's see what was happening. So after queen f6, the threat was pawn to c5. But let's go back. What was the threat that made white play g3?
I don't think it was about the...
Because there's a c5. You can't capture. It doesn't. Wait. Okay, you can't
C5
capture the pawn yet because of
doesn't
c5.
work
Why
because
not?
of knight b5.
Knight b5, but the bishop just takes on b2.
Your queen is there. Your queen defends it.
No. I'm saying if the pawn, if the queen captures the pawn,
No.
c5.
Oh, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh.
That you can't capture the
No,
pawn
no,
yet
there's
because
no,
of the threat
why
of
are we
c5.
capturing the
No, but
As
that
a matter of fact,
that was what his idea. It was trying to capture the pawn, was it not?
As a matter of fact, I believe, if I remember correctly, there's this course by Sam Shankland
Okay.
on Chessable, D4. I learned about this pawn structure, C4, D6, and
Okay.
what White wants to achieve once he has his light square bishop on that diagonal, making sure D5 is not possible. He eventually wants to play, assuming the knight is still on C3, he eventually wants to play knight D B5. And that just gums up all of blacks.
Yeah, because he can't play pawn to c6 because the knight is always going to be attacking this. Yeah, but the main question is why pawn to g3? Okay, is it that
the bishop is not secure on f3, is it?
he wants to play? Is it that he's afraid of
Yes.
knight e5 so that this bishop doesn't get?
I'm guessing that's why the knight is on g4.
Okay, but wasn't it possible to play the move bishop to c3? Or
You really
would that?
love these pawns.
Well, it's not about. You get the pawns, fine.
Yeah.
But okay, maybe knight c4.
Bishop c3. Huh.
It's because even if it's
Bishop c3.
first of
knight
all,
c5.
I wanted to secure this bishop. This bishop wasn't secure on b2, and
Okay.
also
that was what he played, I think.
no, but he didn't play it here. He played
Oh,
g3
okay.
first. So I was wondering why g3 first. Why not bishop, for example, to c3,
then knight e5.
e5.
Yeah, that was his idea. I'm guessing he just wants to take a pawn. Or when he takes on f3, your knight will be pinned.
Yeah. I was going to take with the cheap pawn, but I don't know if that's good because the knight is here, so maybe it's, the king is secure.
For how long? H5, H4, very quickly.
Yeah, okay. Maybe G3.
Yes.
So G3 played, Queen F6. Yeah, Queen F6 with the threat of C5. So
And now all hell starts to break loose.
so okay, pawn on C5. Knight on C5 was also guarding this bishop on G2. So bishop times G2 probably had to be played. Bishop times G2. At first, it looks as if you're weakening some squares, and maybe you are, but takes, bishop takes, queen to G5, bishop
Takes,
captures,
takes. Oh,
king captures,
oh.
queen to D4,
This is deep.
and then pawn times G4. All right, so white is a pawn up for the moment. For the moment, white is a pawn up. Takes, and this is the current position. So, but the pawn on E3 is really weak, and it seems like the king also, white's king is just slightly open, slightly more open.
I would have preferred rook F E8 to rook A E8 that was played. I wonder what rook A E8 is about.
So where will you put the knight now? Are you going D7 to with the idea of bringing it to E5, or are you playing it to E6?
Are you sure you have that time? Why not just drop it on D5? Defending the D6
Or you want to just play
on
okay
E4
on
rather,
E4?
defending the D6 pawn.
Okay, and tying this knight down to. And tying the knight down to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't believe black's position. I believe it would have been much better with a rook on A8 and the F rook on E8.
Yeah.
Because right now there's nothing stopping white from going king G2, knight F4, knight D5, and then your own weaknesses are even more of an issue. Once the knight gets to D5, it will be a totally different discussion.
Yeah, it's possible. Okay. Let's see. Back to live. It seems the move has been played. Oh, some moves have been played actually,
Nice.
and that has transformed the position. Queen captures on it.
Queen exchange.
Okay, and this was followed by. Okay, but he went for a rook endgame. But after rook captures on E2, I believe it might.
Be slightly better.
Yeah, I think you can just capture. Yeah. At first, I was trying to work out if the rook gets, but it's not even close to being in time. Okay, I think the move has already been made. Yeah, pawn captures on D6, and white is just looking much better. Okay. Let's quickly check out the other games.
Bishop to D3. Whoa, I think
Okay.
that's a big problem.
All right. So after a long,
Think.
she has run away from E4 from D4 for a while. She returns to her pet London system, as Torishe. I think for the past two games she has opened with the move E4, which she played against Wafa Shruk and won. And then also against yesterday she won a game by starting with the move pawn to E4. But now she returns to the London system. Very solid opening. So let's just okay. So it seems WIM Lina had a specific idea, maybe this is how she plays against the London system. Captures, knight C3, bishop B4, rook C1, all standard looking moves. Okay, pawn E3, knight D5 is not really anything to worry about. The bishop just drops back to G3. I believe this is one of the systems Dr. Odum uses. I've seen him play it against IM Odeon before. Dr. Odum as black likes to play this. I think this system, maybe something with B6 or something like that. Okay, anyway. F5, and then we have bishop to D3. Was bishop C4 an option?
Bishop C4 is the only move.
I don't know about the other.
I mean, it just develops with tempo. If
Yeah, but the
knight
knight
moves,
goes back to B6.
then you drop back. Because right now, F4 is something to worry about.
Yeah. So it seemed, because it seemed like bishop
Bishop
C4.
C4.
Then when the knight goes back, then you now bring
Then
the
you drop
bishop
back
to.
e2 or e2. E2 is safer. Another way was for
To e2.
the knight on c6 to defend the knight on d5. So after bishop c4, knight ce7, knight ce7,
And then you can just castle.
yeah, the f4 idea is the problem. So maybe
No, but you
bishop
can just
h4.
but you can just castle. What's the problem with f5?
I'm not sure I like f4.
Okay, f4.
After f4, you are forced to take.
Well, I'm not sure about first, but okay, you can take.
Oh, wait a minute. This is not the same because you can go. No. I don't like f4. What do you take with the pawn?
Okay, let's take with the pawn.
Okay.
Let's take with the pawn.
No, I don't like f4.
When I look at this position, it's possible that okay, the structure is not good, but I'm looking at these pieces and I'm thinking to myself, okay, we have a bad structure, maybe slightly bad structure, maybe as white, but the piece, all our pieces are in the game. We can't complain too much. I like activity over anything. So here I consider that white with all its pieces happy, yeah, it should not be anything. The structural weakness should not count for too much.
It wasn't necessary.
Yes,
Bishop c4 would have gotten an improved version of this.
Yes, yes. Okay, so f5, bishop d3, f5, bishop d3, knight ce7, still.
Played in the game?
Yes, played in the game. Maybe waiting for the opponent to castle before playing f4. Not really sure what this is about. I feel just castling is fine, yeah?
I would have loved to see a3 on the board.
Yes, this was what I was considering.
The
but
point is to get, you have the option of getting my bishop to d6.
Yes.
a3, oh no, a3 doesn't work. a3, then knight takes knight, I think.
a3, knight takes knight.
Instead of castling, no,
yeah,
pawn
but
takes,
no, pawn
takes.
takes.
Okay.
So yeah, in this position, maybe instead of castling a3 is something to really consider. Oh, she has already castled. Okay, castles has been played. Nothing, no interest in all these subtleties we are talking about. She just wants to castle and make her king safe, which I think is fine. All right, so it seems. Oh, okay. Some developments have happened in the Abdulrahman game, so we'll quickly go back to that before we check out the last game. So bishop d7, we last stopped the game and he played the move h6, and after king f7 trying to defend the dark squares, Abdulrahman quickly played the move queen to d4. His queen is heading,
doesn't defend any dark squares.
his queen is heading towards the f6 square, e6, e7 square. The dark squares are just terrible. Queen d5, of course, we are going to avoid the exchange of queens. Queen f4. So I guess his next move would be trying to play rook c5.
Are you sure? White has not go.
No.
After rook e5, are you really willing to play?
No, but after rook c5, the problem is that there is queen to g5 and the rook is hanging and you are coming here with devastating threats. So
there's queen e7 check.
yeah. So this is what we call this. Is this like a triple attack or what? The A, and then the last A. Yeah, that's a triple attack. All right. I would just stay away from comedy and go back to the commentary. We'll go to the opening moves of the game between. Let me see that. That is whose game is this? Let me see. Let's give us a moment to get
Sulaiman
the board.
Aisha.
Yes.
Which one?
Sulaiman Aisha Azumi versus WFM Sana Omprakash.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see how that game
Knight 3 F6. Okay.
C4 E6 knight to C3. So this is I'm beginning to feel like people are playing my openings. it is kind of the way
They're
like
watching the stream. They're watching the stream. So they're actually like, okay.
Although to be honest, this is like a Nakamura specialty, and also I think Duda also plays this as white. So, but most likely maybe people learned this from Nakamura, maybe by watching his streams.
I know I learned it from you and Bimbo.
Bimbo Sophia. I think,
Yeah,
I
also
think
plays this.
Bimbo Sophia.
Bimbo plays his slightly differently though.
Yeah, he usually plays for the attack with Rook G1 and
G4.
G4. Yeah, that's. But yeah, so all right, so B3. Usually, is it not good to? Okay, maybe it's not here. Maybe you don't take it. B3, Bishop B2, Bishop A3.
Whoa.
This reminds me of the game between Dean Gliren and Gukesh in the World Championship match. There was a Bishop A3 which was preventing Gukesh from castling, and then he came up with an interesting move. He played knight D7. It was something like Bishop F8, the knight captures on F8. So he solved the problem of having to move his king. Then once he exchanged the bishops, brought the knight back, and then finally castled his king. All right.
That looks like a lot.
Yes, it looks like a lot, but the position is a bit close, so it didn't really matter. The tempo didn't really matter that much. So okay, knight D7, C5, but this is a bit strange. After playing Bishop A3 to play C5, but okay, you're gaining space. You want to play D4, or yeah, and then play B4 too. But is it not possible for black to break this structure down? So, for example, is B6 a possibility?
B6.
Why? Just the C6.
The C6.
Okay, C6 before B6.
The
but
idea is E5. You don't even want to play B6 at all. C6
okay,
and
C6,
E5.
E5. But what about, okay, it doesn't prevent it with D4. Thinking that maybe D4 would be played to prevent.
Even with D4, the plan for black will still be E5. With the bishop on G7.
Yes. This, and then you just, okay, so let's say D4. Let's show what
Castle.
Kennedy's saying. D4.
Just castle.
And
There's
then
no
knight
rush.
G4. Like just the idea, not necessarily this move or that, but you gain your pawn back. This is a well-known idea for those people who play the KID structures. I think they'll be familiar with this, and you get your pawn back. Fair enough. But what if captures with the knight? Not here, I mean.
So knight takes, then pawn takes, then
what?
knight. Yes, knight G4.
Okay, still knight G4
Knight
because
G4.
F4 can't be played because
Leads
the
to queen
E3,
H4 check.
the E3 pawn is
E3.
hanging.
Queen H4 will be met with G3.
Yeah, queen H4 will be met
Oh,
with
queen
pawn
G4.
to G3.
Oh, that's true. The
So
knight just takes pawn on E3.
Yeah, and you still gain your pawn back. All right, so B4 was played. Knight E4 trying to take advantage of this diagonal. However, maybe E5 was also a move, and I think probably that's one of Peter's preferred move.
For sure.
So,
Empty it on C3 play.
so here,
Knight takes what? Knight takes E4.
Yes.
Speak up.
so here,
Knight takes E4.
because
Otims was
sorry.
proposing knight takes E4
I'm
Because
curious.
of bishop takes rook, then knight check. Because he is looking into the knight check.
I'm
There is knight
curious.
check.
Why is the themes whispering?
I don't know.
there's knight check, and if the king moves somewhere, let's say E7,
Then there's queen
is-
takes
there's
bishop.
Queen takes bishop.
Checks don't kill.
Mate
we have
does.
F6.
White is actually better already. There's already material up. You have already taken two pieces for the.
Material.
Yeah, for the
Yes,
rook.
you have
Yeah.
taken the knight and then you have taken. So
So that's
knight
it.
takes probably the black's idea was
Pawn takes.
pawn takes, not
Yes.
and then knight D4,
Exactly.
and then maybe you're the one who will get into trouble with this knight here, coming to
No.
D3.
The bishop is still there.
So yeah, maybe knight E5. Maybe it's still game. Everybody's still.
Knight in knight
What
19.
happened
The,
in the game?
the queen moves, right?
Yeah, but okay. Let's go back. After knight E4 in the game, bishop B2 was
Dropped
played.
back.
Bishop dropped back. Pawn went to D4.
Oh, I see.
And then
Knight
after
takes.
that,
Bishop takes.
B6.
Oh.
and then trying to play for e5,
What?
to c7,
If
trying
you're
to
gonna
play
play
for
for a5, why play b6?
Why would you play? You don't play b5.
So
But-
bishop b7,
But-
saying that I can still play e5 anytime I want.
Although,
And finally,
whoa,
e5
Black is
is
doing
played.
okay, but he probably needs to get in b5, so there is no accident on that c file, and then e5. It's
e4,
uh,
gaining some space, and
locking the dark square bishop.
at this point, black is having a happy life.
Yeah, that's something. Look at the white bishop.
I-
here.
He won.
The bishop on c3.
f4, f4,
What? Does that work?
f4 looks very, very dangerous. I'm
What
already
happens
En
after
passant.
takes and b5?
takes,
En passant, yes.
takes.
Doesn't even matter what it takes. b5.
B5.
Then we can concentrate on what we are doing here. a4.
a4, a6.
a4, a6. Okay.
Or
a4, a6.
That's even if you want to use a4, a6, yes.
a takes.
A takes.
You are
A
the one
takes, a
taking.
takes.
Yeah, then rook a1.
Then rook a1,
What's the
f.
goal? To exchange the rooks.
Yeah, at least
So,
challenge the
if you have
queen side.
I think a better plan would be to be thinking of moves like bishop e1, bishop g3 to exchange the back tall pawn on c3. You know, that's the piece you really want to get rid of.
Yeah, that bishop is not doing anything.
Yeah, the big problem is this pawn on e3.
That's the big problem.
Yeah.
However, if we go back,
You're thinking of g takes.
I mean, just to make it more dynamic,
Yeah.
I think g
And
takes.
You probably have time to get e4 in, but
Yeah.
even after e4, are you happy now?
Well, I'm not sure if, but the having to just sit and defend the e3 pawn.
With g takes, then we can look at bishop h6. That's a possibility.
Bishop h6.
So bishop h6. What I'm thinking of is it possible to play e4, f4 with the idea of knight f here and
That's
knight here?
Exactly.
And the same way,
Knight
knight black is also having
knight-
knight f6,
knight
knight
d-
d, knight f6,
There's
knight.
a difference. There's a difference.
What's the difference?
The
Please?
white light square bishop takes your knight on on e4, and you don't have a protected pass pawn. But when you take my knight on e5, I have a protected pass pawn.
So let's show.
But I'm not taking your knight.
Let's show. Well, I don't know if you can tolerate this kind of knight in your
can't-
camp.
Can I play? It's scary, but can I play g6? I mean g5.
G5.
Yeah,
It's possible.
definitely. There's nothing.
Wait a minute.
There's no harm there.
You should move away from that file as fast as
And
possible.
then queen to g7.
If it moves,
Okay, so this is interesting. Actually, my instinct earlier, if we go back, my instinct earlier was not to even take. I wanted to just keep, like as black, I wanted to keep the structure.
That way.
Play king here, weirdly enough, and then play h6, g5. But when the talk about capturing en passant was mentioned, it seemed very tempting. That, but I think maybe the best chance for white is to capture, capture with the pawn.
Black species are not well placed to take advantage of what's happening on the e file.
Yeah.
rook,
So,
rook,
whoa, moves have been
Took with
made.
the rook.
En passant upon.
Rook captures.
then rook to d8.
So,
But rook to d8, this means that you are going to be defending the pawn forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just this.
there's no way. How
Rook
you
here,
gonna
rook
defend
here,
it?
bishop
Knight
here.
f6, knight g4.
Maybe knight f1 is
Then
the.
you take and
Yeah, but it
playing-
just seems like you have given your opponent a free role to just put pressure on you.
Knight f6 is
Knight
coming.
f1, bishop d2. Okay, you will defend the pawn, but you will be passive for a long time.
But I think at the end of the day, there will be one piece sitting gallantly on the d5. I mean on the e4 side.
Yeah. Well, finally, maybe you will get your knight here. Maybe you don't even come here. Maybe you
don't
come to
know.
g4.
G4 even, yeah.
Yeah, g4, and it's not really clear why you have decided to just be the one defending a very sad looking position. Okay, so
You never
we'll
know.
quickly
Some
go back
people
to the
like-
Abdurrahman game because it seems like some progress has been made. I think we last saw
Oh,
it,
Tennyson already won.
Whoa.
we last saw it here. Bishop h5 was played. Okay, g5 was played trying to kick this queen away. I'm guessing after queen captures, maybe even this looks still
Winning.
good for white, but
But-
bishop h5,
Forcing
just
the king
seems
to the
to-
back rank, so there's no room to
yeah,
G8.
and then this.
Nice.
What we can go-
Check.
What? Okay.
Mm.
There's no check on G7 yet. Oh,
Yeah,
but
rook to g4, just showing some brilliance, you know, with the flourish. Queen pawn captures, of course, the queen can capture the queen.
Oh,
now
we
you
have
are-
a mate hanging. We have a mate. We have queen e7.
we can
Yeah,
Uh,
there's mate in like
There's a mate on e7. There's a mate on just two squares. Just two squares
Yeah.
to mate.
so this is Abdurrahman. Attack.
Attack.
We need mate on one more square to make it. Okay, so this game is gone. Let's look at how Tennyson finished this other game. I think we last saw it here. Queen captures on e3. This exchange was not ideal. Maybe black should have moved his knight on the previous move to a good square. Okay, the commentator is indicating knight d7, probably bringing the knight to, I don't know, maybe c5,
And
maybe e5.
and the
maybe
position is a little bit
b6,
equal?
maybe f6. Yeah, and they're saying that the position is equal. Okay, but queen captures on e3. This exchange looked like, oh, you are gaining your knight back.
But
yeah,
past pawns.
you're entering into a very lost endgame.
Past pawns.
And there was nothing really much to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay, if the pawn captures, there's just the move.
Rook check.
Rook check. And then once the
And
king comes up,
just
pawn
push.
to d7,
And you
and
push.
then this is good.
You push.
f6 was played trying to get the king in, but of course with this is just, there were so many ways. But
Lights out.
This is just clean. This is clean.
Clinical.
Two pass pawns, the rook cutting off. No, there's nothing to see here. So yeah, that ended. This ended, and we are expecting a result here. And it will just be the game between Torishe and WIM Lisa Lina Nassr
Lina.
Nassr Lina, which looks as if white has a slight advantage. Let's quickly go back and see if anything has happened. Bishop d3, knight e7, castles, b6, and maybe we are expecting the move, maybe pawn to a3 here. Are we?
Helen Fifami,
pawn
how
to
are you?
A3 may not be such a
Special
good
shout out to
move
you.
anymore.
Pawn to what?
So now with b6.
But why
even-
not
even-
a3?
Even without b6, with your rook on the c file, you would like to keep the c file open, right?
Well, not necessarily. This rook on c can just support the pawn on c3. For example, where does this bishop
Wait a
go?
minute.
It captures.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Imagine taking on d5, knight, go back, instead of a3,
Okay.
knight takes knight on d5,
The second knight takes in response.
and now a3. Okay, so the guy gets an escape route.
Yeah.
Although it doesn't end there, there is a possible. No, I don't like it.
Nah, you don't want to do that yet.
I don't like it.
Even the.
But-
I'm not so sure.
So
the
moves
black
that are coming to
queen-
my mind,
the
e4
black
and
queen is
a3.
not is
and-
looking almost trapped.
Yeah, but how to trap it? Yeah.
Knight e5, knight d2, anything landing on c4.
So
Knight e5, yes, knight e5.
Knight
But
e5.
knight e5, I think knight e5 you just have to start thinking of.
Okay,
capturing
knight
it.
e5. We are putting pressure on this d7 pawn. Yeah, threatening
Yeah.
knight to c4.
Mhm.
Okay, so we have to look at some direct ideas for black. f4 being one of them.
Nah, f4. So you start looking for how to protect knight c4.
Okay, so let's see some moves that don't look too good.
Knight c4.
So is the queen going to move away?
Very
Doesn't
good
have
question.
a choice.
Well, you can sacrifice the queen.
a6. Oh, you can sacrifice.
Can
Queen
sacrifice.
a6.
Queen
Knight
A6.
takes
Queen A6.
D5.
Queen A6. Don't take yet.
Knight takes d5, defending your bishop with tempo.
But he's going to get that
Knight
knight
takes,
back.
Then
There is no good discovery, yeah?
There's no good discovery.
I'm not really playing for discovery. Oof. How?
Doesn't seem like there's any good discovered attack.
I will,
Try.
I was actually looking at before the captures, before the knight capturing. I was actually looking at bishop attacking the knight.
Okay,
Also,
before
your
we
bishop is hanging on g3.
before we go to anything, let's just quickly say that after rook to g4, WCM Ayemu Mazan
Resigned.
Emanuela Esther resigned against.
Of course, there is
So this was a
no defense.
Yeah, this was a brilliant attacking game, and the king, without, like we mentioned earlier, without the bishop on g7,
Yes.
without the bishop on g7, the attack on the dark squares might be very terrible. And here, black just continued weakening some of the dark squares further, and this just caused a lot of problems for. This just caused a lot of problems for black, and that ended the game. So I think he found some brilliant moves. I think queen to b2 maybe was even better than all the moves we suggested. So maybe queen to b2 is the way to go. All right, so a
Good
brilliant game. So once again, if you want to find out about this opening, you should go to our previous stream where we talked about the opening in depth. You don't really want to give up your bishop
Because of the pawn.
Yeah,
The
this is not ideal.
the Pawn Grabbers Association would not support this kind of pawn grabbing.
So let's quickly go back here. Surprisingly, f4 was played after knight d2 takes. We're talking about how black would try to put pressure on this e3 pawn, but here f4 was just played. So a very concrete move, but is it good? Is it good? Is it good?
F4. So the pawn takes pawn, rook takes.
Are you surprised by f4?
I am.
Oh,
I am,
queen-
I am.
Queen
I'm
d3
sure
was
F4
response.
was connected with ideas of taking on c6, taking on c5.
Yes, but it seems strange.
The idea is to eventually take on c3, distract the queen from the
And then maybe
defense
take
of
on
the
e2 or something.
bishop
Yeah.
on e2. But
But it doesn't even really
that
work
appears
in many
too
ways.
deep for my
Yeah,
liking.
I don't know.
Too deep for your liking.
Yeah.
Mm.
You're much better now. I don't know what would happen after this sequence of moves. But
Yeah, but it looks as if once you have exchanged these pawns and the weakness has gone away, then white is just fine.
You go for the pawn. Let's say.
Like white compared to the previous.
Yes,
That's what I'm not fine in the overall picture, but compared to what you have here, where it felt like you were going to be defending, where it felt like white was going to be
Defending our pawn for a while.
e3 forever.
Forever. Okay. So
You
now
know,
that you've
Now you have just decided to play pawn to f4, giving up. This is just befuddling. Let's go back to another game that we understand. Okay, so pawn to b6 was played. And we're talking about knight e5. We're also talking about pawn to a3. So these are the moves we are considering: knight e5, pawn to a3, and pawn to e4. We should look at the forcing moves. Which one should we start with? Which one is the most forcing? A3, yeah? Okay, so pawn to a3. Let's look at it while Madame Torisha is thinking about a game.
I thought you were looking at knight e5 before now.
Well, this is more forcing, so where to start with the forcing move? So a3.
Wait.
What happens
Is
after a3?
working? What happens after knight takes c3?
Okay.
Oh, bishop on d3 defends e2.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking that it's possible.
Yeah. So
So
that doesn't
a3
work.
pretty much forces
Bishop-
takes c3.
Bishop takes. Okay.
Pawn takes, and now the only other forcing move black can think about is f4. Otherwise, we have bishop d6 very quickly coming to b4, and that queen start feeling some unpleasant sensations.
So okay, so it seems white is threatening bishop d6 to b4. So f4 is being
I
suggested.
think knight d5 is even played already. Knight d5, as in knight takes d5 in the live.
Oh, okay. Let's go back to the live. Let's go back. So knight times d5 was played, and then a3. And she really,
I think I know how she thinks.
yeah, she didn't want to spoil her structure at all.
Mm.
She didn't want any capture. She just wanted the c file. She wanted easy life. But I thought it was worth considering.
No, don't say easy life. You say soft life.
Soft life.
It is soft life.
No, but come to think of it, after a3, bishop e7, and bishop h4, I think white is happy with with her control of
The dark
the
square.
dark squares.
Now, okay. Sorry to jump in. Jimmy Ogulana was saying, I think instead of we thinking of the knight e5 variation trying to come into the c4,
Yeah.
he was actually saying, why not just knight d2?
Knight d2. Yeah, I thought of that. The problem is that bishop in
That was before
when
the
you
capture.
when you go knight e5, you are also discouraging bishop a6.
It looked. We were considering both moves. They both head towards the c4 square, but it seemed like knight e5 came with the added advantage of, putting pressure on this d7 pawn, so discouraging
Bishop
bishop
a6.
moving.
Yeah, okay.
But because you are still heading to c4 anyway.
Yeah, that's
So,
so that's it. Mr. Jimmy.
Except maybe knight d2 has something where we are not seeing. Maybe it helps with e4 and knight e4. But apart from that, I thought knight e5 was good. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that point.
But moves have been made. Knight captures on d5. We were trying to check out a3. I was actually liking the move. I thought it was possible. But since knight captures on d5 has been made, we would just move away from there and a3. So knight e5. All right, putting pressure on d7. And
So we should be expecting bishop b5 next.
it's possible.
There are a couple of things.
Yeah, bishop b5, and of course the pawn can't easily move forward because of knight to c6. So this is, let's make some terrible move just to illustrate what we are saying. So bishop b5, d6 can be played. I think knight d7 is...
Boom, son. Boom, shakalaka.
is
No, it's not. The queen is not. The queen is still safe.
Why?
Is lost.
Why
How is it lost?
No, nobody does that.
I'm just saying. I'm
Go
just trying to
back.
say
Instead
how
of
the queen is
d6,
lost.
why not a6? What's the bishop doing on b5? Oh, the bishop went there to attack
Attack
the
The
pawn.
pawn, yes.
Okay.
So you are saying the queen is lost. I'm saying the queen running down to d2 and
Yeah, we're not
probably
going to
having
analyze that.
e2 to of course.
Queen to d2, rook e1.
Why not even
rook
going to...
d1. Why are you going to?
We'll leave the audience to go and solve...
Is dead.
Oh no! Our major job here is to actually show the audience these
No,
simple
but okay,
things. We are not
okay.
selling them.
Okay.
This is not a grandmaster show.
we thought after it was
We have
more than-
900 rotated players actually watching.
There is no need for
We-
bishop b5. There's no
thought it
need.
was-
And now this is the point we're
No,
trying
but-
to say that it is a trapped queen.
Knight c4 immediately achieves everything with tempo. Because now the queen has to go to a6, then we play knight d6. With tempo, the queen has to come back to a5, and then we can think of next steps from there.
Maybe we can think of it.
Yeah, we can continue. Even
Well, why
after
not?
knight on
Why
c4,
not? Why
there is
not?
bishop d6?
Wait, why not bishop b5? Now, if you play knight c4, the queen is completely trapped.
The problem is nobody's going to allow you.
Yes, that's. But we were just trying to illustrate the maybe a potential threat
Okay.
of this thing. So, okay, since we say nobody is going to allow, what exactly is black going to play here after the move knight e5, attacking?
Oh, okay.
Rook
Oh.
d8.
Rook d8.
Yeah.
Oh,
Rook
sorry.
d8.
D8 is playable.
Sorry, Jimmy. Thank you very much. We'll come back to that. But actually, Jimmy was not actually talking of knight d2. He said he was looking at knight e2 instead.
Oh.
Okay,
Oh.
yes, very interesting move.
Okay.
Trying to
The
say
idea-
that,
Yeah.
trying to play a3 without even giving white the chance, black the chance to capture on anything on c3.
Yeah.
This is interesting, and even covering the f4 square.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it seems very interesting. And a3, so that means it almost forces you to move maybe
The other knight.
The knight.
You have to knight the knight on e7 because, or else the bishop is dropping.
It's very interesting. Yeah.
Knight to c6 at this point.
Yeah, but knight c6, and then maybe you can, after a3, the bishop can just go to e7.
E7.
But let's see, is there anything that we can do? It looks interesting. e4, no. e4. What do you do after e4?
I'm not sure.
Knight e4.
You know,
the king has to move.
there is
also.
a pedestrian threat of
Oh, knight to go back to
of,
f6 or something.
of f3 and bishop e1 in the variation that was played, I think.
Yeah,
All
okay.
of this, it's-
No, but it's interesting possibilities that, But e4, what to do? Trying to follow on with Jimmy's idea.
Jimmy's idea e4, knight probably has to go back to f6.
Why can't it take?
It's take now. He has to
Or you want to take, right?
Yeah.
Okay, pawn takes, bishop
takes,
takes.
bishop
The
takes.
knight goes back to
Yeah.
f6.
No.
Knight still can't go back
That
to
would be
f6.
Why can't the knight go back to f6?
because
We'll,
rook takes.
we'll collect on c6.
Oh, bishop
Rook takes.
e6 too.
Why do you want to use rook takes?
Rook takes f3. Whoa.
No, I don't think that's
Oh,
what.
things. The pawn on d4 is still defended with the knight on e2.
Yeah, the only thing is just the knight will capture the bishop. Apart from that, if knight does not go to f6 and it goes, say,
e7, then we have the
No.
a3 idea again.
yeah, exactly.
So
So let's say the
but
knight.
but
let's
in
say
this
the knight
in
goes
this
to-
variation, a3 is not so scary anymore.
Anymore,
Yeah.
because the bishop can just run
Bishop
away.
d2.
the bishop has
Bishop D2.
the bishop has squares to go to.
The bishop has squares to go to. Black can even start looking at.
No, maybe e4. Following up with e4 might not be. But e4 also looks good. But maybe following
Yeah,
it up with
but
e4.
the question is,
But-
does the knight move? Where does the knight go to after e4? E4 f captures.
Yeah, maybe
bishop
he will
captures,
just keep the knight here and just grovel like this.
grovel.
Maybe bishop a6.
Yeah, bishop a6. I was looking at bishop a6, pinning the knight to the rook. Just
maybe bishop
a
a6.
temporary annoyance.
So, but knight e2 was interesting. But maybe knight c6 keeps everything compact.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see. Back to live. Knight e5 has been played, and there are many threats. There's bishop b5, knight c4.
Whoa.
There is bishop. There is direct knight c4 possibility.
This is move 15, and
Yeah, both
they
of them
have
are.
15 minutes on the clock.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a very difficult position for the WIM, I think.
No, they don't have 15 minutes on the clock. One is having 28, one is having 15.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, but this. Yeah, it's pressure. White has pressure. Definitely, white
yeah,
has
of
pressure.
course.
So okay, but how do we defend as black? What do we do here? What do we do here?
What do we do?
What happens with rook?
Maybe before we
Rook E8.
defend, we define white's threat exactly. How exactly is
We-
white going to trap the
We
queen?
mentioned bishop
Bishop
b5,
B5
knight c4.
first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
bishop b5 and knight c4. a6, which looks like
If-
is stopping bishop b5, is met by
So
knight c4.
if bishop b5 is
Maybe.
your threat
Maybe.
and you can't yet play knight c4, then what's stopping us from playing rook d8? Defending the pawn
That's
with the
what I'm
rook,
saying.
and then bishop b5 can be met with bishop a6. Oof. Yeah, bishop
Yeah,
a6.
bishop a6. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, okay, but
Well, at this point, there is also f3.
Can I?
f3 mentioned by
Yeah.
Onokpite with the
Earlier.
idea of
With the
bishop
idea of
e1.
Bishop e1. Yeah, it's a very
But as interesting as it is, also, humor me. Rook takes bishop.
rook takes bishop.
Yeah.
You mean rook times c8?
Rook times c8. So why don't you want to?
I'm better. Why am I doing this?
Still knight going for the rook. I mean for the knight going for the queen. 96.
This was what I was talking about earlier.
Then you take
It's
two.
looking like a perpetual, like there's no way to actually
No.
trap the
No.
queen.
No.
But
Okay.
bishop
Do you want to go
d5
through that way? I was actually going to do that knight fork. Then a rook behind the queen. Come on, give it up.
No, don't do that. Don't do
there's
that.
rook
Just
pin.
just take
There's
the
rook
rook
pin.
first.
There's
Just take
rook
the
pin.
rook first.
Okay.
There's rook
No,
pin.
no, if you take
There's rook pin.
rook pin what?
There's rook c1.
Rook c1.
Yes. There's rook c1.
Oh my God! What a beautiful.
No.
Okay, so knight.
Knight takes d8.
Knight
It still doesn't
takes
work.
Bishop
Bishop
takes
takes
the
now.
bishop.
No
Now he's
problem.
gonna take with the bishop now. So
No
it has to take with the
problem.
bishop.
No problem.
So the rook. Oh.
No,
But it was sweet.
But
It was beautiful.
Yes,
Come
it's
on,
good.
this is beautiful. Come
Wait a
on.
minute. Wait a minute. If you played it to this point,
Yes.
okay, so it's difficult, at least for me, to have seen it all the way. But if you played it to this point, you will realize it doesn't work because of rook c1, and the
Exactly.
move bishop c4 will just come.
Yeah.
How do you stop bishop c4?
No, but now you have exchanged, so the knight is no longer here. So except you're talking about here.
No. In this position right now, to stop rook c1.
No, but you're not trying to stop anything. Let me show you what I'm saying. So
Okay.
knight d8, bishop times d8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even if the bishop comes to c4, you're not trying to stop anything because the queen can just escape to a5.
And
Back.
it's not about trapping the queen anymore.
Now it's about taking the knight.
I want to take the knight.
Then
With a check.
queen back to a5, and queen can always capture the bishop exchange.
Yes,
The knight.
and we have this
Of course, but again, ridiculous, fishy chess players like some of us.
No. I think bishop c4 now just works.
Okay,
but
bishop
fishy,
c4, queen a5.
queen a5. Do we still want to?
Just take it. Just take it.
You can. You just.
But the problem
But-
is that the black ends up with the c5.
But
Exactly.
now instead of going that
So
way,
even
now,
though your structure is better, use the c5.
this was the structure you wanted to go for, right? How about go back?
Okay, so
Go back. Hold on a second. Just go back.
Okay.
So instead of going through c4, back. Instead of going back with the queen. Instead of going through c4 after the knight takes, instead of going through bishop c4 that he was advocating for, bishop takes. Yes. Why not bishop just takes f5? If that is still the line you want to go.
Rook c1 is scary.
Rook c1
Very scary.
immediately.
Oh, rook c1 is meant to bishop back to
His
d3.
bishop back is coming back to d3.
But you also.
And if you say pawn
You
takes, queen
also-
takes, it's a check
You
first.
also have to worry about knight takes e3. If rook c1
Yeah.
and bishop d3, knight takes e3.
Wait, knight takes e3.
No, it doesn't work.
It don't-
Because of
why would
bishop f2?
Bishop just goes back.
Bishop f2.
Knight takes.
How do you get to
Pawn
f2?
takes.
Pawn takes knight.
Pawn takes.
Pawn takes.
Yes, queen
Queen
takes.
takes.
Bishop f2.
Bishop f2. The point is to take on. Oh, okay.
Eh.
The
Nah.
point was to take on f1 because the bishop on d3 cannot take.
Yes, and right
But-
now seems like that's a point.
but
That's a
the-
piece. That's a
the
whole
king-
piece down.
the king
That's a
can
whole
move.
piece.
And
That's a whole
King
piece.
just steps
That's a
up.
whole piece.
King can even step up.
Just king
There's
steps
no,
up.
There's no big deal about it.
So you're a piece up, and we have two wonderful bishops.
I think they've made a move.
Oh,
because it
yeah,
looks- it looks
they-
like white's advantage.
Yeah, they made a move. After knight e5,
Bishop e7.
knight f6 was
Knight
played. So the
F6.
knight just came back trying to defend.
Defend that. Makes
At
sense.
the expense of bishop takes pawn.
Which bishop is taking
Yeah,
pawn?
bishop takes.
I-
Oh,
f5.
bishop
Pawn
takes
gra-
f5.
I thought you were a member of the Pawn Grabbers Association. You should be seeing these pawns. You should be seeing these pawns.
That looks juicy.
Yeah, very
Bishop f5 is
Very,
so
very
you see, and you can't even play g6 because bishop takes the pawn again. Wait,
On e6
Okay.
Yeah,
check.
yes, bishop takes yeah with a check. Yeah, bishop takes the pawn on e6 with a check. The bishop takes
And
back,
there's
queen takes
still-
check, and the
there's
knight still escapes.
to c6.
And in fact,
There's still knight to c6.
as a matter of fact, you have to be so careful there because the bishop takes, yes, bishop takes idea, and the king takes, then just
Just drop back.
come
drop
back.
back.
With the
Ah,
bishop,
drop
you
back.
mission accomplished.
Just drop back.
Just come back.
D3.
Threatening
No,
to
but
trap
then
the
there
queen
was-
again.
I don't-
D3.
I wasn't going to put it on e4.
Let's-
I was
Trust you.
I was going to say that, like, there was no real option that I was seeing. That's why I played King H8. It's not like I.
Oh, okay.
It's not like I thought it was good or something.
but it's actually the only considerable.
And the knight somehow it's like an outpost. It looks like
Yeah,
the pawn can
you
chase
can't
it, but
knight
knight
four.
c6 is
Knight
always
C6 also
yeah.
there.
So the knight just stays here, and the bishop can't really. It's not so easy because there's always this threat to this.
And there is now
Rook
F3.
c7.
Rook C7 is coming. F3.
Wait a minute. Go back. Instead of taking on F5, why
F5.
not just F3 immediately? F3 now. Is
Yeah,
that queen escaping? I don't see how.
No, it's escaping. It has
D5?
D5, yeah. It has D5.
What was? Oh, okay.
It doesn't-
The knight
Knight
on
was
D5
on
was
D5,
what was stopping it
exactly.
from reaching.
The worst case scenario is sacrificing the B pawn, the B6 pawn, the B5, B6 pawn. That's the worst case
Well,
scenario.
the simplest is just take your pawn.
Just take that pawn and just marvel.
You can. Can you do that?
Just take the
Just
Queen
take.
takes queen.
Pin the knight.
takes queen.
Queen takes queen.
Just take and pin
Yeah,
the knight.
and bishop
then
comes behind the
queen.
knight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't move
Still-
that bishop
you
because of
still
the knight
can't
takes
see
pawn.
the knight is still there.
That pawn is.
Oh god,
Yeah,
this
this
is
position is actually very, very difficult for.
Very-
for black. for
Yeah.
black.
Okay, let's quickly check in on the other game and see if anything interesting has happened while we were gone. After we saw F4.
Yes,
being
F4.
played,
Yes.
Queen D3.
Pawn
Pawn
takes.
captures.
Rook takes.
Queen to F4.
Rook takes.
captures.
Check.
Queen check.
Sliding. Rook
And then
takes.
rook takes.
And
So
do
you
we
should-
have a bishop?
Yeah, bishop F6.
Bishop F3.
Bishop F3, yeah.
Yeah, bishop F3 because we have a bishop who has actually holding on to the E1 square. We don't have any issues with that.
Bishop F3, there's rook E3.
I wanted to play something fancy like Knight B8. There was one funny game I saw one time where Knight B8 was played, but I don't think it even comes close to working here.
And by the time you play queen, there is it allows the queen. In fact, does extend of the queen works immediately?
No,
from
the
this
knight
part?
B8 is even going in the wrong direction, even if your plan works.
Yeah. It's in the wrong direction, but it's just that this bishop has no way of entering the game easily, normally.
It does. If
Yeah,
it
maybe
wants to.
C8
but
to
now
F5 and
First
stuff.
B5. We need B5. Otherwise,
Well,
white gets
because
some
if
counterplay
we are
with the
trying
C
to
file.
attack, maybe you just ignore it and just
Knight
go.
to G3 in this position.
The knight is not going anywhere.
Knight to G3.
But if knight,
We need.
okay,
Then
bishop,
queen to D2.
Queen to D2.
okay, and then you exchange queens.
Exactly.
We're happy to. What happens to the pawn on D4? We're happy to exchange queen and collect on D4.
And we don't want that pawn on D4 to go.
No, you know
We actually we don't want that pawn
Yeah,
on
but
D4 to go.
you know, I was suggesting this Knight B8 as a terrible idea, but I'm not sure what the refutation is. But it doesn't look good to me. Like the idea is simple. You want to bring the
So
bishop, but it
let's
feels
play
wrong to
B5,
bring
B5,
B5.
bishop C8, bishop F5. Then we can start thinking.
Wait. Are you saying white should play B5?
No, black should play B5.
That's instead of the knight. Instead of the knight going
Let's
back.
stop that counter play on the queen.
Yeah, but I don't see why we're
Black-
stopping the counter.
Black,
That's what I'm saying.
Black wants
What?
that
I.
file opened.
Yes,
Black
yes.
wants-
Wants
that
that diagonal open.
Which diagonal?
The A6 F1 diagonal. That's the reason for the knight B8.
Yeah, that's the only reason for the Knight B8.
Okay.
But okay,
So-
maybe
but-
maybe this is not a great idea.
Wait,
Just-
after the bishop, after this knight work.
I'm not
So
sure
if we want to
I
stop
like the
this,
move.
So if you were to
is
play,
A4 not stopping it?
no need for A4. If you play
possible.
bishop A6 now,
A4
what
is
stops
okay.
me from playing B5 immediately?
like if I play bishop A6 now,
Yeah.
I'll take on A6.
Then bishop takes D5. Check. And
Yeah.
bishop is coming to C4.
Then bishop just
King
slide
moves.
into-
Bishop C4. Black is in the game. Sorry,
Yeah.
white is in the
Then
game.
bishop C4, then takes, then rook E2.
Rook E2 is not as scary as it looks.
That bishop is already away from that
Rook E2
diagonal.
is not scary.
Why you say it's not scary and you're not making a move?
Oh my god.
Oh,
I see.
That bishop is already away from that place. So
Okay. This is just fantasy. Nobody's playing
obviously.
now everyone. So bishop F. Okay, back to live. Rook captures on E8. Rook captures on E8. Okay, well, this is our analysis. So nothing much has happened. were just. But mostly, of course, you want to bring. Normally, what you want to do is you want to bring your knight here, you want to bring your bishop here, bring your bishop here, bring the knight here, or something like that. This looks more in the spirit.
Even now, black has a comfortable life, I think.
Yeah, maybe even not to allow.
Very comfortable.
The question is, what
The
does
only-
white have to play in this position?
Counterplay on the c file. Without that, white has nothing.
What should white play now?
He will take on b6 at some point.
Take on
and then-
b6.
Yeah.
Like now.
Well,
The
he
bishop
can't-
is being attacked.
No. You save the bishop with the
So
like
where-
bishop f3.
So bishop f3, knight back,
Knight back.
knight to b8.
Knight to become more. Let's not do
No,
those kind of things.
No. Let's just look at it. Let's just look at it. I think I like the knight to b8.
I don't know if I like it. First of all, there's a pawn hanging, by the way, for those pawn grabbers association.
I heard that and I'm like, what's going on? What's going on?
Yeah, so there's a pawn hanging. So maybe that's why she's also hesitating, thinking that my pawn is hanging. So that is a possibility. And okay.
Oh, I see. Okay, so
But the pawn is not that hanging.
yes, it is
Because by the time you decide to use queen to take that pawn, the rook is sliding on a1.
not. Yeah.
And the queen comes back.
The queen comes back, then we have to look at the rook that the pawn on a6 is
And
looking
then
juicy
so
now.
The
rook
knight
can come
b8
down
doesn't
also.
work. 'Cause
There's a bishop. You will have a bishop. Don't forget about that. Maybe it's a-
Attacking the queen first.
one step at a time. Your bishop.
step.
Okay, sorry.
Bishop
Before we come, sorry, I know I'm jumping back and forth, but okay. So bishop f5 was played, and after king h8, bishop back to d3.
Yeah.
All right. So
that's
just according to what we were talking about, so
Exactly.
white is a pawn up and still has the pressure, but it's going to be an interesting one to see the conversion if and how it goes. There's white has the c file. White has some interesting ideas of f3, bishop e1, although the queen has d5.
No, I don't think.
So, but maybe we can just take over the c file.
yeah,
and
with rook c2. Don't go too far. Rook c2.
So
why don't you want to go too far?
I'm thinking.
Now you have ideas. Bishop d6.
Yeah,
you
but
know.
bishop d6,
No.
there's always knight g6, and then bishop captures on
I don't want to
d6.
take the chance. Just
Now,
c2.
let's
It's
look
good
at
enough.
something.
But
If the queen does not move, like right now.
okay, so are we going back to this game?
No. The same game we were on. Yeah. So if the queen does not move from this position, let's say, for example, the rook goes to d8 for black.
Okay.
But the rook can't go to d8. There's
No.
knight f7 check.
Okay. So let's just say the rook goes
When?
to.
Did we see that move? When did the king?
Yeah,
move
after
to-
bishop
after
captures.
the bishop
Oh,
captures.
okay. King moved.
So let's
and
say
bishop came
the
back.
rook goes to e8, just for the sake of analysis. At this point, what's wrong with e4?
e4.
E4.
No. It feels.
The pawn structure on the board favors you. Why don't we keep it that way?
I understand.
Until
I understand
we have
the
to.
trap you are trying to play for. You're trying to play for e4, getting the d5 square away,
Away from
then
the
f3,
bring
and
it
then
in.
bishop. But luckily, black also has some moves. It's white move, black moves. So
Although
there is always maybe even a6,
It's-
b5, all these
A6
things.
does not work because of the knight move.
so, the e4 idea actually makes sense, but as soon as you play e4, I'm assuming the whole idea is to trap the queen.
Obviously.
Is there a pedestrian idea?
Obviously.
Now the queen just comes to d2 and is ready to escape.
Yeah. Indeed.
Even though that's not much of an escape. Even on the other side of the board, the
There's
queen
still-
still doesn't have a happy life.
Yeah, but this is
Well,
crazy.
queen-
Let's see, back to life.
Mm.
A move has been made. So bishop a6 was played.
Mm.
Okay. What's going on here? Why not take on a6 and take on d7? The queen still doesn't have a happy life.
Exactly.
Take on a6.
Take on a6, take on d7.
Oh, because of the queen check and capture back. Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. Queen takes, knight takes. knight takes,
You're getting 3 pawns and you're getting your piece back.
piece back.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
No, but that would be insane.
that's beautifully insane.
Beautifully insane. Maybe the only way you can just try
I'm
to
not sure.
get a pawn for it.
No. Nobody's
Get
giving
it.
you a pawn. There is rook A1.
Pinning the bishop again
bishop.
to
But then
you still get the pawn, you
knight
still get the
can-
pawn.
The knight can now be the one to escape.
you still get a pawn.
Mm.
You still get a pawn. He still has a point. Rook takes bishop and. But you can. But do you even have to do the knight takes pawn? Okay, bishop takes bishop. Yeah, bishop takes bishop.
Bishop takes bishop.
And
But-
queen take.
but
then
if-
just slide your rook to c7.
Yeah, if Torisha is
Oh,
feeling
come
like
on.
she doesn't want to risk anything
Yes,
at
no,
all.
just slide your rook to c7.
You
And it's going to be difficult to
your love for
defend.
pawns, it's winning.
No, that rook can't go. It has to be the.
I'm not
Yeah, I'm saying that like it's not even great.
comfortable with that rook there. I
No, but the
can't
rook is
tell
fun.
why.
The rook is fantastic.
It's
I have no problem with doubling up on the c file, just not all the way.
Be aggressive.
Be a call.
Be aggressive.
Be like triple A. Attack.
Be aggressive. And what is there to fear?
Well, you don't fight a man that has nothing to lose. At this point, you are already winning.
But I don't understand why you'll be afraid of putting yourself. I've never seen a player afraid of putting his rook on the 7th rank.
Yes. You put a rook there. I think.
And there's no way to trap it.
Okay. Let's try to figure
rook
out
on the
what the
7th.
problem will be. At some point, maybe not even now, I have knight h5. The point is to grab your bishop, as in exchange your bishop.
But
and
even
then
if you
But
put
who
knight
cares?
takes
Knight takes pawn.
that's why the rook is here.
Knight takes pawn.
knight takes d3.
Queen is looking at the e6.
Like there's no way to even
No.
justify.
Do you get
This
it?
is actually a very dubious move if you are not careful.
Okay, from where? Which perspective?
Okay,
What
so
do you want to play? Then?
Knight takes pawn.
Knight. No. Knight takes pawn.
Rook takes. No. Okay. Rook takes. Knight takes.
Knight takes is attacking
Knight
the rook.
takes.
Rook is hanging.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't care. No.
No, take
That's
Take the
that's
knight.
the thing.
Uh-huh,
If you
uh-huh.
are
Now
taking-
what?
If you are taking
Now
no,
what?
I'm saying if you are taking that route,
No, nobody is taking the rook.
Ah.
no.
But
That's
so-
where the dubiosity comes
No,
in.
there's
Well,
no
so now
dubiosity.
what?
Come on.
That's exactly where
No,
the
now.
dubiosity comes
No,
in.
now. That was not even.
I'm sorry, I have to check that. Is dubiosity
Okay, a move has been made. Your knight captures on D7 has been made.
Yeah,
Definitely. It's
the same
just-
thought process. You know.
Yeah, it's
The same,
just-
they-
it's just-
you know,
it's
when
just
you they said when you are together with somebody for a while, you start thinking and start behaving like them.
like-
Mm-hmm.
Knight captures on D7 on board.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Ken
Dubiosity
is
is a noun that means vague, doubt, uncertainty. Wow.
Ken is pretending.
Kenny is pretending as if the telekinesis
Yeah.
hasn't happened. This is
He's
telekinesis.
pretending as if
No,
he
no,
is
I
not
don't- I don't.
Telekinesis
completely,
because you said knight d7 and that's
I
exactly
don't
what
think so.
happened.
This is more like
The man is on the edge. He's
most
nervous.
Most people in the tournament want Lina to lose right now. Think about
Well,
it.
yeah.
From Torisha's point of view, she wants to win.
Yeah.
Okay. From Shrook's point of view, she wants Lina to lose.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when everybody's against you like this.
So you start playing moves that
Yeah, everybody they're out transmitting moves to you spiritually.
but we tried transmitting
let me
moves
ask
to
you-
Nakamura.
No. Oh, you don't understand. It doesn't work that way.
Exactly.
Listen. Have you ever been watching a game and someone makes a blunder and you could tell you were the one that transmitted the blunder? I say it doesn't work that way because it's a lot harder, maybe even impossible to transmit good moves. But bad moves, you don't want the entire hall to
Let
want
me
you
make
to
you
lose.
understand something. Let
What
me
makes
make you something.
What makes you think Ortega came to Nigeria and then he...
No. That was in fact as I yesterday as of yesterday, when Lena was actually holding on to Abdulrahman, I know lots of people were trying to, telepath
very confused.
bad moves into how to just crumble, and but it did not work. Your own case is a different ball game. We are saying when you rub
the
minds.
truth is that from the opening, this position was just fantastic. This position,
Yeah.
White Hart was just fantastic.
And the moment, in fact, the moment she allowed the the moment they allowed the F,
Yeah,
I
that's the
think
position.
Lena had
then Queen takes pawn.
had to
we
play
have this.
F4, otherwise she
Yeah,
can't justify
yeah,
it.
yeah.
If you have played F5, you might as well just go all in.
So knight d7. If you don't want to take on,
We're happy with knight
Ah.
takes knight.
You don't want
Takes knight.
No.
so knight takes knight is good.
So
Also,
before
I'm
that,
thinking knight
no,
e5.
we take
No.
E6
Knight
first.
No, E6 first.
No,
Queen
no, no.
E6.
What I'm
takes
saying
knight.
is black is. What I'm saying is black is thinking. We have looked at knight takes knight. So what I'm saying is black is thinking. So the only other possibility is that she wants to move the rook away.
Yeah.
That's
To
what
F7.
that's what I'm looking at.
So where is he going to? F7
So
or
maybe
C8?
fighting
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
Ah, that will, in fact, Queen takes pawn.
Queen takes pawn immediately.
Queen takes pawn immediately. Let's keep an eye on your
Yeah,
bishop.
so-
We're assuming
takes
she's
pawn.
thinking of a possibility.
But she's not playing Azumi.
She's probably wondering how did I get
Azumi
myself into
defeated the
this.
WGM.
Exactly. She's not playing Azumi. She has already. She has
How did
already.
Azumi fare against Elena? Have they played?
I think
Okay, so
No. I
So-
don't
they're,
think Azumi.
they're
They've not
playing
played.
the next
They're
round.
playing next round.
Oh, okay. Okay.
They're playing next round.
all right, so some moves have been made. Knight
That's
captures on
okay.
d7 was
That's
played. Queen
okay.
captures on e6, and I was
Should we
asking
take
about
the
the possibility of e3. No, it's black to play. I was asking
Black,
about the
okay.
possibility of bishop captures on e3. At least trying to pretend to take one of the pawns on the queen side so that you have something to pretend to have as counterplay.
Well, so
No. That doesn't work.
so with bishop
that
captures,
doesn't work.
with bishop captures,
Huh.
queen takes knight,
Queen takes knight.
queen takes knight, bishop captures.
I see what you're doing. Bishop e5, right?
No.
Exactly.
He wants to.
No.
No.
Rook.
I don't want that.
Rook C7.
No, white,
Rook
black is to play.
c7
Oh, it's black to play now.
is black to play.
Okay. I was thinking it was
I-
Black to play.
Okay, so rook d8. I
rook
think.
d8.
Rook d8.
Well, I think.
Uh,
Rook d8.
queen f7.
Then maybe bishop f8. I don't know.
Bishop F8.
Then
Yeah,
no,
we can't really
rook
grab the pawn
c7.
because of bishop
Rook C.
e5.
Rook.
Rook c7 now.
Rook C7 first.
Rook c7 first.
No, but we all know that Kennedy doesn't like to bring it, so maybe rook c2.
He doesn't like the seventh. He doesn't like the seventh. He doesn't like that. Yes, it's possible he has played one move. Just like I said, one of Abdulrahman, King F8 might be a phobia. Anywhere he says King F8. So probably he has played one Rook C7 at one
Somewhere,
point.
yeah.
And they're like, no, please.
Yeah.
I don't want anything Rook
I
C7.
played my game against Femi at this Zonals we just finished. We're in an equal, practical end game, and I had my queen was on e4. Was playing black, safe on e4. Okay, not safe. He was threatening to exchange the queen, and the only option I had was to go queen h1, and that was the first move that occurred to me when I saw the position. But I didn't bother calculate. You know why? I played the game against Roland one time. I had my queen right in the center of the board, and I went for a free pawn on a2.
Hey.
That was the end. So, so immediately the move popped in. I said no.
No.
We leave our queen in the center.
Unbelievable.
And then I ended up losing because he was actually threatening to exchange the queen, and I didn't notice.
Okay, imagine.
Okay, so
takes
bishop
A3
e3.
play.
So we're looking at Queen
C.
takes knight.
This
Yeah.
would be a difficult
So the thing
one.
is that I was even thinking that you don't even want to unbalance the position. For example, if you
Exactly.
play pawn times a3 and the knight stays on the board, well, it's not like the knight is great, but you just don't want bishop knight or something like that. So
Yeah.
you want just the same pieces
Yes.
as you're seeing it. So
Yeah.
queen captures on d7,
Yeah, just
a bishop here, and
Then
of
bishop,
course, e5.
yes, bishop e5, yes. So the rook, if the rook decides to go to there, we would have
Then
bring the
rook
second
C7.
rook to c7.
Can we
Can we bring the rook on c7 now?
Yeah, let's give it a try.
All right, rook to
Let's
C7.
give it a
Let's
try.
give it a try.
So all these moves don't work, of
Bishop
course,
takes
because
check,
bishop check is
and
just-
it's lights out.
against,
It's just
yeah.
lights out. Yeah, it's lights out.
So this is what we're hoping for. But okay, so just queen taps d7 is I think is more than
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
But
One of them.
there is a possibility that the white player is scared, not wanting to allow the counterplay of two connected pass pawns on the queen side.
And you see the problem.
Okay, so rook d8. What do we do after rook d8?
Queen G4.
Queen G4, still keeping an eye on that F,
Yeah.
on that G, on that G7 pawn.
Queen G4 immediately.
Yeah, Queen G4. Say bishop takes. We still have the bishop.
Yeah.
Bishop D5, E5.
No. Rook C7
Rook
first.
C7 first.
To stop rook
So
f7
nothing
or rook
can-
d7.
Yeah.
And then queen not coming to
b7.
Yeah.
B7. Okay,
Yeah.
that's nice. Rook. This is
Mm.
top notch. And now
Bishop in.
bishop.
Nothing stops the mate. All right, so a move as a mate, pawn captures on a3. Yeah, you didn't want the. Although no matter where the knight goes to, the bishop still is
still coming to us,
dominating,
dominating
on
on
e5.
d5.
It's
Yeah,
just
but still.
no, but it's fine.
Rook is still coming to C7.
Yeah, everything
that's
is
the
still.
next
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
Rook comes to C7.
So everything is still, I think, amazing.
Amazing grace.
But that one looked better because you are capturing the knight and the bishop is still bishop is still hanging.
Yeah, capturing the 9 queen
The
bishop.
bishop is still hanging, and then you still
Exactly.
have mating threats against the.
Ghosts.
Yes.
So here you have to be worrying about this a3 pawn. What do you want to do? What don't you want to do?
Bishop. Well,
Is knight F6 played?
Yeah.
Yeah, let us should have been played. Yes.
C7 is
Rook C7 immediately.
Rook C7
Queen
immediately.
can't take it because of bishop D6, I think.
Mm.
So
Rook C7.
there's
Yeah.
enough time.
You're threatening bishop D6. If the queen decides to take the pawn on A3, you can't go pawn grabbing it. Like we said, we from the pawn grabber association, we have rules. Ethical rules. You must know the kind of pawn you have to grab. Mm-hmm.
Okay, rook e8.
Rook E8. Yeah.
Queen
and-
b3. Or what?
Queen B3.
Yeah, queen B.
Queen B3. No, why not just yeah, why not just rook E7? Running to queen B3 allows the knight to E5 and then
Yeah.
the knight is feeling good. You still can't take the bishop D6.
Bishop D6. How does that affect the price of Gary in the market? Because even if the queen runs away. Rook takes knight. Rook takes.
No.
Rook takes.
Takes. Queen F7.
No, bishop back.
Nah.
Bishop back.
There's nothing wrong with the bishop D6. There's no issue with the bishop D6. Yes.
There's no bite.
Yeah, why not just queen b3 protecting the
Yeah,
pawn?
protect the pawn and just take it slow, nice and slow.
I really don't like. Okay.
And then maybe bring the bishop to
Bishop
e5.
to
Capture on
the-
f6 and then
Yes.
know that you are just 2 pawns up maybe.
Yeah.
And you are dominating your opponent's 7th rank.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the c file.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have
Well,
it. That's the problem.
There's
No,
knight.
but
You have the
there's
C
knight-
file at the moment.
There's knight to
Okay.
E4
You-
now.
Yeah,
You
but
don't
knight to
have
e4,
time
but still
exchange.
the point was, let me see, does this work?
It's still bishop, yeah.
It still works. Yeah.
Mm.
Threat-
No, you have to move.
But now there's
Threatening
rook
mate
times
minute.
bishop.
Yeah, I saw that,
Rook
but
times bishop doesn't work. Take.
oh, but knight
Knight
d2
E4.
is
Queen
comes
B4,
comes
queen
with a
B4.
threat.
That's a mate threat. That's a mate threat.
Wait a minute.
That's a mate threat.
So go back. So after rook takes.
Wait.
After rook sacks on the bishop.
Is this our analysis or what was played in the
This
game?
is our analysis.
Oh,
After knight F6.
Mm.
Huh. So I'm not just interested in, the good moves. I like to figure out what is more probable, like considering the people playing. And that looks like an easy trap for white to fall into.
Exactly. So rook A to E8 for black.
yeah, that's what we're talking about. Okay, E8.
A to E8. Then
Then Queen B3.
I don't like Queen B3.
I don't like it.
I would
What
rather
do you want to do?
I would rather
Meanwhile,
go
just
What do you want to do?
just mentioning it, it's not like all this is because there's a rook on C7.
So you see, they don't want to rook on the
You
seven.
know,
not even-
sometimes
not even
I don't know
great,
about you, but there are moves. I think it happens to me almost every time. I wish I know how to find good moves like that. I'll be a very strong player.
Hold-
But
hold on a
sometimes
second.
I just feel
I
like
think rook.
No, no,
rook
rook.
E7.
No. Return it. This
I think
rook,
E7.
this rook C7. We've still not explained exactly the fear of the bishop D5 first before even the rook going. I mean bishop E5 before the rook even goes to E7.
The thing
If you are saying that we are trying to stop the queen from going back, the truth of the matter is the rook going to C7 still attacks the queen with the bishop's aid on the same D5, same E5.
No, it delays rook C7.
there is another way.
Yes,
though.
it's just a delay, but
A
there is nothing you can do
cleaner-
about the delay.
A cleaner way, which is to play.
I mean, just the bishop E5, E5 immediately.
Bishop
Okay,
E5.
you lose the pawn,
It's immediately.
but then it's not like immediate. The rook would attack you, blah blah blah. Rook A, E8, and then queen goes somewhere. Oh,
queen
if
pawn.
wait, if rook A E8, then now we are keeping our pawn. So
Yeah.
that doesn't work. He has to take the pawn immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Oh come on, this just fails.
No,
He takes the pawn. Bishop takes.
attack.
Bishop
attack.
Bishop
No,
skewers.
Bishop
skewers.
takes F6.
No, bishop skewers.
Bishop skewers.
Bishop skewers.
The
What?
rook, the rook attacks you. You know,
Then
Ah,
the
you
bishop
takes
takes
queen
Okay,
first.
queen takes rook.
Queen takes rook check, then you come back for the
I was
queen.
thinking
You take that.
bishop takes F6, and you can't take back with the rook because rook C8.
Because of rook C8 kind of
No,
idea.
but rook C8
But
rook
rook
yeah,
C8 does
F8.
not. Rook goes back to
queen,
F8.
Yeah, queen A3 protecting rook.
No, just skewer immediately.
That's skewer immediately. So you can still take the pawn.
So the
Bishop E5.
Bishop E5.
It looks so.
All right, let's quickly go to Azume's games. Seems like some developments have happened there. After Queen F2, rook captures Bishop F3,
Queen ran away.
H4.
Who else
Okay.
played after this?
Knight G3, Queen F4.
Attacking the rook.
Why not bishop H6?
Still keeping an eye on the D4 pawn. Okay, Knight D2. Rook captures on E2.
Naturally, the
That was a huge blunder.
Jesus is Lord. Now queen takes. Queen takes rook,
bishop
bishop.
backs.
And white,
Bishop takes.
black is just a piece up.
Whoa.
Black is just a piece up.
He didn't even bother to win the piece. Could have gone bishop takes
Oh
D4.
Yeah,
my
bishop takes D4.
God.
After check, knight can block. But
Oh my God.
This will be a big win for Sana.
Very big, huge win.
to be fair, White didn't handle
Obviously.
this game well.
Obviously.
Maybe I'm missing something, but
And Bishop takes pawn again is
Solid
looming.
counterplay
Yes,
was
Bishop
on the
takes-
Bishop takes pawn on
game.
D4 is looming.
Yeah,
Hmm?
it's win.
Yeah.
Total,
There's
this
Bishop
is-
D4
This
looming.
position is totally winning for black.
Bishop D4 looming.
She's just trying to prevent
I don't-
anything from landing
exactly.
on E6.
That's just the idea.
I don't really understand why it's a piece up. I know we don't discuss piece ups.
Yeah.
We should because
No,
it's
no,
like
no,
I said,
no, we don't do pieces.
We-
Just pawns.
we should.
A piece up. Piece up.
we should because of like I said, it's a live stream and we have even 900 rated players actually watching this game. And they are-
Bishop times D4.
Yes.
Yes, that's
Yes,
what we
that's
said.
the-
That's what we're talking about.
That's the.
I thought you said we shouldn't talk about it. You said Bishop times D4.
No,
That's the
it's
way forward.
considering some moves.
Yeah, Bishop A6 is also a very good.
No, but it doesn't really matter anyway. It's not.
Does it really matter? Does it really matter?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
So okay, Bishop times D4 is played.
Queen.
What?
Threatening Bishop check.
Threatening bishop check.
Mm.
So what happens if I just go
No,
back?
just queen e3 is fine.
Yeah.
And now,
queen
now I'm the one
B6.
threatening the mate.
Yeah.
So this forces
And now the question is,
exchange of
and-
queens.
And I was like,
More
the
or
question
less.
will now be,
Exactly.
so what you gonna do about it?
Because bishop e3, queen
queen
takes
takes.
covers. So
Yeah.
just queen e3 just covers everything.
La 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 la.
Once we see queen e3 on the board, I think
La. Lights out.
Lights out.
La 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 la. And this time around, the girl doesn't have. She has. What's the time control? She has like 75 days to. So finish the game. 11 minutes says like 75 days actually to just find
and
out.
this is move 30, but once you find one
11.
final-
He's no. This is 11 minutes to find. That's 11, that mean that's 7 days to find that move.
once you find one final move, I think it's gone. Okay, so since this game is gone, let's just go to the one that still has some intrigue. After knight d7, rook c7 was played. Rook captures on a3, but didn't you talk about bishop
The
to d6?
skewer, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about bishop d6. We're talking
Yeah,
about
bishop
this
d6 because rook e8, queen captures
Queen
on e8.
captures. Knight takes.
Played already?
Knight takes.
Knight takes what?
If queen takes, knight takes. Rook e8.
Oh, okay, you mean
Knight
queen
takes,
takes, knight
knight
So
takes.
what's wrong?
No, hold on a
What's
second.
wrong
Return.
with queen takes
Return.
knight?
Why queen takes knight?
What's wrong with queen takes knight?
Just queen takes knight.
Aha.
Then you go back and take the queen.
That's the only. You can't afford to take that rook.
Okay,
That's
queen
what
takes
I'm
knight,
saying.
and
Yeah.
the pawn takes, then bishop
You
takes.
take
and
this queen.
a
You
piece
just
up.
take a
Yeah.
whole piece up.
A
Not
whole
just a
piece.
whole
Yeah.
piece up.
So we expect, okay, bishop d6 has been played, so we are looking at what black has in mind now.
Yeah.
Okay, so probably she saw rook e8 and saw that knight takes or something like that,
takes.
but she
Yeah,
didn't
probably.
really consider queen captures
Queen
on f6.
captures knights.
On f6. All right. So once queen captures knight on f6, I think.
That's about it.
And so what? Wait, hold on a second. We were calculating something. What were we calculating again? What was the move we were calculating after
Oh,
this?
equally.
Wait, what was the move? Which rook was attacking the queen, please?
Because I'm happy with the development.
Well, rook.
It has to be the rook on A, right?
No, rook on f.
It should be the rook on F. Was
Yeah.
that your plan?
Do we have, sorry.
Why do you have rook
the-
on F to do that?
Do we have.
If you do rook on F, I'll just bring my queen to F to adjust and queen to F.
Sorry,
F7.
just a question. Do we have live stream of the
Makes
players?
sense.
Yeah. I didn't get the today's link.
That's true.
Yeah,
I just have
After-
queen
after
F7.
rook
Yeah.
F8,
F8.
there's even no need
Just queen
to,
F7.
to take
just
the
You don't need to
queen-
take the knight. Just queen
queen
F7.
F7.
Queen F7.
F7.
That's just.
you give us
Oh,
your
okay.
That's
No,
completely
no,
different.
but yeah, but there was the possibility of the other rook.
It
Yeah,
has to be
yeah,
the
I
other
know
rook.
use that because now we take
So
the
now
queen.
take the knight.
Take the queen.
No, you can't take the queen.
Take the queen. Take the other rook.
You take the queen and take the rook.
Oh, okay. So no matter what happens, you are.
Then you take the
Yeah,
rook. So
yeah,
this is good.
Yeah.
Pieces
Yeah.
pieces go front and back.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have to look back?
I wasn't aware.
You were not aware. Oh, okay. Oh my God.
So yeah, bishop d6.
It's-
So that
it's-
means most likely the queen is going to move away, and then after bishop
Yeah,
captures,
bishop captures.
Rook takes.
captures. So you'll be
Then
an
queen-
exchange.
Queen.
Queen in.
Queen-
to
Hey,
E7.
careful.
Queen
careful.
E7.
No,
Yes, queen E7. Queen
Yeah,
E7.
But there'll be
Queen E7.
knights.
There is no
Oh,
knight. You're
there's
mating.
knights.
You're mating.
The rook will have to
You're
go first.
mating.
The
The
rook
guy
will have to
doesn't want.
defend.
He doesn't want his
You
queen
just
to
don't
enter into the
want. You
seventh
want
rank.
seventh. Do you
No,
have
no,
any
no,
issue
you
with
should
seventh?
avoid the seventh.
Oh my
Attacking this,
God.
attacking this. Yeah, this looks over. This
Yeah.
looks.
This
This
is-
looks close to over. Okay, let's see what. Okay, so bishop. Yeah, queen e3 was played like we mentioned.
Yeah.
Queen captures, bishop captures, but
This is just what there's nothing we're doing there. We're just
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so if there's any intrigue at all, okay, queen d3 has been played.
Takes, of course.
captures,
Thank you for the rook.
Nothing is there, so.
Thank you for the rook.
So I guess queen after rook captures, just rook captures on a7.
Just take the
Yeah.
pawn.
No,
No, no,
why?
no.
Just enter the seventh with.
Yeah, but because of
No,
the
no,
threat
let's
of
avoid.
the yeah.
No, you take the pawn now.
Now take the pawn.
Yeah, but it didn't really matter. Was it better? Was the queen
Oh,
better on?
definitely
No, I'm not sure.
It's better.
It's
'cause
way
you have
better.
No.
access-
Even you can just bring the rook down.
You
Yes,
have-
just rook down there. Yes.
That's also there.
That's
you
also
had
possible.
access to after rook takes a7. You had access to a3.
So what is he gonna
in
do to
case
this?
the knight
No,
is
this
threatening
rook-
some
rook
pawn
g8 is
business.
Rook g8.
Taking on e3.
Rook takes.
Rook takes, knight takes.
Knight takes. Then now
Is there a
then
need to
rook.
take? There's
You
no
have
need
to
to
now.
take. There's
no,
no, need
no,
to
no.
take.
H4, very long ventilation.
There's no need to take. Just H4.
No, H3, yeah?
H3 is
No,
fine.
no.
H3 is fine.
Okay.
H3 is
I like my ventilation very long.
But because it's a night, I didn't want it to be jumping at all.
Mm.
Like even in any future, like jumps. That's why I just
So,
went.
after this, and now you can now capture.
No,
Why
still
do I
break
have
the
to
rule.
capture? I don't have to
Oh, well,
capture.
no, I'm just saying that.
Just stay there.
it's
Just
still
stay there.
possible.
Just stay there and totori the thing. You know.
Mm.
Rook takes.
Rook takes.
It prefers the queen and just rook down.
No, but you have,
Just
your
wants
opponent
to-
now has 2 pawns and it's matching on the queen side.
Look, you can just.
All right.
And you also have 2 pawns that you can match in the center.
Mm.
Okay, so
That's easy.
rook captures, and yeah, so many ways to win. There is also rook f7
Yeah.
and
For the
rook
love of the
f6.
Is that for the love of the game?
Yeah, this is.
This is
actually
even beautiful. I actually love this. I actually love this. Rook takes.
Very much
I love it.
playable.
I love it. Rook takes, pawn takes, queen takes, check. The rook pins.
pin,
Then now
rook
rook
to
to
C1.
C1.
And the rook.
No, but here the rook will just take, and then after the ventilation, the
Rook
queen
C1.
captures.
Why not rook C1?
No, just
There's
capture.
no mate, that's why
There's
the queen
no
controls
mates.
this
Just
diagonal.
capture. Just capture.
I just need that.
Yeah, so okay, too many.
Too
Okay,
many ways
too
to
many
use
options.
yeah,
Too many
queen e7 was played, and then we are getting that rook
many-
times d5.
What's the title of that movie again? That sounds like too many ways to die or something.
Yeah.
Rook captures on
1,000
c7.
ways to
Yeah.
die.
8,000 ways to die. Exactly. That's the movie I'm thinking about.
Okay, so it's looking white to win this. So white has been winning a lot of games, yeah.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
noticed white. The
Is it
white players tend to win a lot, and they tend to
Black
win.
player.
You can have all 5 boards. White
Mm.
one.
Yeah.
Yesterday I think it was something like a 4-1, white 4, black
And
1.
it's looking like that again.
Okay,
Just
this one,
see how
nothing
this-
has happened, but we guess that there should be
It's-
some results soon. And here, yeah, there should also be some results soon.
Oh, this is beautiful. The game is almost coming to an end, and I think we have to also let our fans know that we might not be able to come to annotate the round 8 and round 9
Tomorrow, yeah.
today even
Today and
tomorrow.
Why not round 8?
Because I will have to leave to preparations for National Friends of Chess right there at Bagada. Tomorrow is the Blitz event, which the master of the Snow play is also playing. And he's sounding as if he's not playing tomorrow for this game. He's also playing, so he'll be playing the Blitz event tomorrow. And I'm going to be trying to bring in. It's going to be a 13 rounds event, so I'm going to try as much as possible to record 13 games, which will be dishing out as post production. That's like later in the week as it goes, one by one. Yes, we'll do it like 13 blitz game, and we probably will just do something. We will just sit on board 1 and just record everything that happens on board 1 and probably board 2 together. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So the threat is knight c3, knight e2.
The threat was to take on. As white played queen a5.
No. I was one who made the move queen e5. The move knight d5 was made. Okay, queen f7 was played.
Okay. Not surprising.
No threats. Just no threats.
Not surprising.
No threats.
White's idea should be to come play rook e7 and rook e8. So,
Yeah.
and you are also trying
Knight
to
c3.
defend against ideas like knight takes e3.
No,
No,
rook
but there's
E6.
nothing to defend. There's nothing in knight
case
e3.
of,
Rook e7.
business.
Yeah, but the threat is knight e2 anyway.
How does that affect the price of carrying the market?
Knight e2, knight g3.
Knight g3, pawn
Yeah.
takes.
That's the
That's a threat. Okay.
That's the slight threat. But even losing the exchange doesn't give anything.
if knight c3, white's
And that's, ladies and gentlemen, if you already seen, you saw his face, he flashing right now. That's Mr. Toby. He's the guy in charge of the digital boards.
Wait,
He's
wait.
a fantastic young man.
C3.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't want any kind of disturbance, just play a g3 and any knight e2, king g2, queen e4s, whatever. You can just play queen f3 and not worry about a thing.
Oh, somebody was like Jimmy was saying rook e8 doesn't work because of queen f7.
We didn't see that.
With
Okay,
well,
yeah, that was what we eventually concluded.
yeah, we concluded that. Yeah, so
Rook
Um,
e8, queen f7. Where?
Rook when you still had 2 rooks on the
Wait,
8th rank.
on the 8th rank.
Oh,
Rook
okay.
e8 attacking the queen will be met with queen f7.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay,
and
yeah.
one more thing. For this is to Lapute. He says Lapute's sense of humor is so late, and so you can say thank you to Jimmy Gulana for giving you
It's so late.
lit.
Oh, it's lit. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so
Thank
that-
you.
uh-huh.
Thank you. Someone appreciates the sense of humor. Aha. Now I feel some energy. I feel like I know this is the real reason why we do this stream. I'm happy. All right. But okay, nothing really happening here. See, after we saw C5 takes, and then this is. I guess this is not as this is not exciting. This is actually the real game where although there is no intrigue. Okay, knight. Okay, after
Knight
queen
C3
after queen f7, knight c3, and then g3. Yeah, played to avoid any and then b5. Okay, so now I think you are ready to activate your rook, and maybe even bring the last rook into the game. I think. Is there anything
No, I
to
want
fear
to.
here?
What, I want to. Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to replace it.
Already, you can start thinking about rook here. Yeah, rook a1 and then rook. Yeah. Okay, rook a1. Okay, sorry. Rook a1, h6. What do you do?
While you guys are actually thinking about what you guys are going to do right now, I'm actually going to be, right foot, biggie. Yesterday it was the lemon and lime that I took with some fantastic bread. Today we're going for
Tropical.
the tropical flavor. Introductory offer of 20% extra free on it. And the good news is, Lakwete can only look at it, he was not going to taste it. You got it?
All right. There's no advert as good as drinking it live on stream.
Yeah, paid advert. Yes, exactly. Yeah, look at it very well. It's real, okay? It's not a fake one. Yeah, real, original. So, Lakwete, what do you think? Don't even think about it.
So
I'll get you water.
What does it make
Biggie water. Biggie water.
Now you have taken the biggie tropical. I feel like you'll be finding good moves. So what do you think? Why should
Wow! In this scenario, don't waste time. Just play your rook to a8. Just exchange it. There is no stress, You just.
So now people on the stream know that if you drink biggie tropical, you would be getting to find good moves on the board.
Are you saying I couldn't find good moves
Yeah,
before
exactly.
drinking this?
That's exactly what I was saying.
That's exactly yes. Oh, yeah, 1-0. But maybe if you drink Biggie Tropical also, Mr. Kenneth, you will not be scared of putting your rook on the 7th anymore.
A rook on the 7th. You've never seen a man fear a rook on the 7th.
That is it.
Rook on the 7th.
Yeah. So we go there.
Yeah, it's all right. Let's see. Rook a1 looks like the cleanest. Looks like the cleanest way.
Oh, Mr. Ali, thank you very much. It's a nice stream. Keep going, guys. Thank you very much, Mr. Ali. We really appreciate. We appreciate it. Special shout out to you. That's it. We go back to the.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to go down this line, h6, and then you just make some moves. Rook a8.
H6, rook a8 at the end of the day. Then, if you take, you have to take. The rook takes check, and now the king goes.
Yeah,
in
the only
there.
thing is that the
Queen
queen
check.
covers this diagonal.
G4,
Queen check.
G4.
No.
Queen check where?
Queen check.
Queen check.
And then
The
rook
rook comes up to check, and now
Queen check again.
Queen check.
from a light square. Oh,
No,
if it goes to the dark side, then queen check on the dark side.
Hopefully our king doesn't get checkmated. The king just runs here, and before you know it.
No, he can't run
takes
away.
check.
After queen takes check, after queen takes pawn check. So
Okay,
there's a
so when
problem.
should the king go to here?
That's the only way. Yes, queen check now.
Yeah, queen check.
Yeah. In fact, why? Wait, hold on a second. Go back a sec. Can you please go back 1 sec?
All right.
Just play H3 Queen.
No, I'm trying to wait. Hold on a second. This knight. Okay, this. I'm trying to see
Okay,
what black.
There's nothing to.
What does black have in store? Because I was trying to see.
Okay, sorry, a move has been made. Sorry.
I was trying to see
Okay,
what
rook
can I
a1 has
just
been
do.
played.
I was wondering why can't I just do queen takes G7 there? I'm threatening rook H6 mate.
Yeah, you can. Of course, you can. Of course, you can.
Tropical.
Oh yes. It's the tropical.
It's the tropical talking there.
Rook F(a)(1), and yeah, I think
So
H6 is the only move I can say.
yeah, but H6 has not been played.
Yeah, but
It's the only.
Speak of the devil. Now we look at rook A8.
H6, Rook A1.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rook A1. Rook takes.
Yeah, this still looks like the only move.
Yeah,
If you actually want to win the National Friends of Chess,
take some tropical.
take tropical. And make sure Lakota doesn't have access to it.
Oh,
Sorry, the queen is.
Oh, we can't even do rook
No,
check.
the
No.
pawn was blocking it before.
Before, the pawn was blocking before.
Ah, where did the pawn move?
Go back.
Without
Go back.
opening the.
Yeah, you see, remember?
Oh,
Yeah.
Before,
Yeah.
why did the king go to G2?
Yeah.
What? Knight C3, king.
Now she
Oh,
now
the
wins.
king went to G2 unprovoked.
Unprovoked. Just go. We're thinking just go and rook there.
Giving the pawn an extra tempo to.
So now move to B5. So now we don't have that idea anymore.
Hi.
No wonder I was wondering why what?
So now
Why
you now
did
move
you
to
play the
A6. A6 now rook here now. Check. And now the queen.
Queen E4 check played.
Queen yes, queen E4 check plate. Well,
Yeah,
you
but
can
why
play
not
queen F3. There's
Pawn
no
push.
queen F3. Why are you
Pawn
doing pawn
push.
push? Just make it simple.
Pawn push, more checks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
push more checks.
More
So
just
queen-
make it
yeah,
simple,
queen
just-
F3.
Queen takes, king takes, and this is an easy end game. Easy end game, and just like I keep saying, make it easy, tropical way,
Okay, and then the rook can just
And then
come.
rook-
and just go to the
Behind.
back, just stay behind, just pick it from the back.
I don't know.
We are still.
Yes,
we are
rook
still
B8.
talking chess.
From the back. Come on. Okay, where? Okay, that's okay. The right side. Rook from B8. Take from B8.
Let's quickly. I don't know. Let's quickly
I
just switch
think
to the other
Queen
game.
F3 played already.
Yeah, Queen
Yeah,
F3 was
Queen
played. Queen
F3
F3 was
Queen F3 was played. That was the best.
Okay,
way to
so
go
this
about
one
it.
too. Also,
Wait, was that it? Okay, did she do a check before the Queen F3?
yeah.
Or
there
she
was
just
the-
played Queen F3 unprovoked?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No. King time too.
No, there was check.
Is this your analysis?
No. This is the position.
This
Queen
they've
F4.
captured. The Queen is off the board. So
The
they,
queens are off.
also this is easy peasy lemon squeezing.
Mm,
Of course, they say squeezing lemon is not easy.
Takes.
yeah.
Takes.
Rook
Check.
Check. Then you stay. Then you stay where? You now go where?
Pawn B8.
Rook behind.
Okay,
You say go to C8 square.
So then,
Rook behind pass pawns. No, you have to put the pass pawns. When you say rook behind, I don't know what
come
you're
on.
talking
We are
about.
we are saying the same
You
thing.
didn't even mention the rook. You just said go behind.
But wait, what if
No, I
you
didn't even
play?
say anything like behind. Yeah, even his one behind. I
What
said
if you play
just look to
knight
the back?
B1?
Knight B.
It doesn't affect the price of Gary in the market. Just
Just
king,
king
king,
F4.
king,
King
F.
F4.
No,
Okay,
no,
king
no.
approach the pawn.
King
approach,
E2.
King E2.
King E2.
Okay.
King
King
E2.
E2, king F,
King E2.
D3.
King E2. That's it.
King E2, king D3.
Now you want the knight, not the pawn.
King E2.
Yeah.
Well, no, we can take the pawn without hassles right now.
Oh,
Once the
you-
king is on
you
E2.
want it.
Okay, I think this is the live position.
This is the life position should be saying I resign right now, but I don't
This is the
know.
life
But
position.
that
Let's.
last trick is still there, so
Is that live? I'm saying king takes F3 there.
Yeah, that king E7 was the last move. I think the rooks are still on board, but we're not seeing how.
All right. This.
Oh, what happened?
all the
Why do we have a
games-
black screen?
No. I was trying to refresh the screen to be absolutely sure.
If you need to be refreshed, just ask. I will give you a bottle of Biggie. It's simple. You have to be. Come on. Ouch.
I don't know who the people I have on stream are.
Come on. You know who you have on stream. And
Okay,
this
so
is it.
there is nothing to fear now. The queens are off the board.
And
you
it
know,
is,
this
um,
one, Kennedy looks.
I'm especially happy because the rook has found a way to avoid the 7th rank. It's on the
Aha, it's on the 8th. Okay, so the
So-
final trick with a knight B1. So
King E2.
So we just hope that everything.
If I were a betting man, I would say white would play king F4.
No, King E2. Okay, so we're
Okay,
there's
king
a.
F4 allows him. No, I'm not talking good move or.
No, that's what I'm saying. So we are wagering, since there is no intrigue here anymore, we are wagering between King E2 and King F4. I'm Team King E2. And,
I'm King E2 as well.
and,
That's simple.
Kennedy is
King
King.
F4 is actually very bad.
But
Because the knight goes back.
wait,
Yeah.
it seems that
and
movie is not
then
clear. Let me check.
You can't approach the knight anymore.
Okay, so
King
King
E2
E2
is
was
good.
We can go.
So after checking with Tropicals, King E2 is the best.
King E2, yeah?
Yeah.
So now King D3 and
No, King E1.
no, King D3 is fine.
E1. So we are again wagering a bet between King E1, which gets out of all the
King
checks.
D3 can still be answered with Rook A2. Black is still hoping for something.
Yeah, so King
get it?
E1 gets out of all
All
the
checks, no checks. I know you're
But
taking the, you're taking the
let's
pawn.
see, let's see what you choose.
You're taking the pawn free of charge. FOC, not NFOC, please. It's different.
National free of charge.
There is a difference. You have to be, you have to specify,
Okay, so
Help me, people. Help me. I've been
was this
kidnapped.
played?
Yeah,
By who?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
this has been
What-
played.
what-
Back to life. King E1 has been played.
Okay, so
When is it supposed to start again?
It's starting on
Thursday.
Thursday. The Blitz is starting tomorrow.
Today is what?
Today is
Monday.
Tuesday. Today's
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yeah, today's Tuesday.
Okay, so we expect resignation here. And,
Anytime soon, yes. We
And
wish.
the game between Suleiman and Azumi. Azumi is trying to use her bishops to create some checks. But yeah, so our great CM Kennedy has left us to quickly go congratulate his better half, WIM Torishe. Just in
Yeah.
case you are not aware.
And finally, he shows his face. The man behind the scene.
Yes, the old teams of Africa, the man giving us some tactical ideas behind the scenes. You know.
Fortunately, he's not playing an FOC Blitz. Fortunately for you.
So I'm in the
You're
clear,
safe.
right?
You're safe.
So yeah,
And
really
we'll take,
captain.
so let us call it a day.
Yeah.
I think this is the part where we were in primary school those days. And I say, what's the song we sing when we're going on? We don't want to sing it.
We should not. We should not.
We're always happy when
when
it's
it's
time
time
to
to
go
go.
home.
So now F3.
F3 limiting the
The
knight,
knight's movements.
A4, D5,
As in
and
just
the pawn starts to
just
roll.
just roll it.
So the question is, okay, still move 40, time gets added to both sides. So
Yeah.
this game can last forever. And this conversion, okay, let's see. Let's see. This one is the only one that maybe even has some pieces around and we can talk about. Because that other game there's no content there anymore. King here, bishop here. Okay, so for some reason, so King E7
King-
is fine. So
yeah, King
there's no
D3.
check anymore.
Yeah.
Knight can also go to C5,
Yeah.
and then here the pawn just goes.
Yeah, roll it.
The bishop can help, and then the pawn moves
Well,
if the
that's
bishop
why-
stops it.
Huh? Man.
So
I would have said King
Maybe
G3,
maybe
but
King
there's
G3.
bishop check.
yeah, but the king can get closer.
Oh yeah.
So maybe that's the only move for Azumi now to invest. No, I'm
Yeah.
not even sure to do
Well,
what
it's
I
the
want.
only
bishop.
move though.
Bishop check.
No, King G3.
Even with the King G3 Bishop, won't.
No,
But
yeah,
just
bishop
no. Even
check
with
now.
the no wait.
Yeah,
Even with
with
the
the-
King G3,
Mm.
do you have any? I don't think you have to waste your time with the Bishop check. Just push the pawn to D2.
Yeah, but the reason we were doing that was because of
Of
normally
this.
after bishop D3 we wanted to play bishop F3, but we
But
didn't
then
have bishop
we
F3
won't have
because
it
of
again.
the king. Although it's not like it's any big deal. It's just
Yeah, it's just delaying the inevitable.
yeah, the minor inconvenience at most.
Knight
Maybe
knight
Yeah,
attacks the
knight.
bishop and
bishop.
goes in.
Yeah,
Then knight D6. I mean D3.
yeah, exactly.
Knight D3, threatening knight F2
Knight
and
F2. Yeah.
lights
And
out.
Game
Another piece is gone.
over. Yeah, so nothing happening here. Okay, even
She's still playing.
okay, Torishe decided. Oh, this is
I have
actually
to
one of
ma-
the cleanest ways to win such a position.
Check. And just take the knight away and then, okay, you know what, let's play with the pawns.
Yeah, so this one, there is no...
Pawn war game.
Yeah, this
Pawn
one,
war game.
there is no intrigue at all. There is no possibility of, I missed a knight.
Yeah,
There is
knight
a
fork.
exactly.
This
get
one,
it.
you just go with the pawns.
Just march.
This there is nothing. I feel like resignation will come in the next like 2 months.
And that's...
Probably WIM Lina is just going through the motions, trying to think, where did I miss it in this game? And that's so it's not. Yeah, this one I think we can call.
We can call it a day there.
Yeah, we can call.
Yeah.
We can call safely 1-0. So this is the only one where Black has to show just a little bit of technique. Yeah, just a little bit.
Finesse.
Nothing even too dramatic, just a little bit of technique. Because you are a pawn up, you are a piece up.
I think bishop check now comes in for Black.
Yeah, but bishop check
Bishop check for
on B4, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, on on F5, on F4. Because white has played, so it's black to play. With bishop check on F4, you have the king being forced to go back to G1. Now the bishop to F3 just secures everything.
Yeah, but the pawn can't go to D2 because can the pawn go
The
to
pawn can still go to D2. D2, so it's just secured.
But the king can come closer. That's the problem.
Then bishop captures.
Just take the pawn on G4. And it's...
Still
But wait, hold on a second. I don't know. Black is still playing. You know, it's unbelievable. You know, Black is still playing. You know, and we've spoken about this before. Remember, we said, and if you look at it, let's even look at the time.
This was what I was trying to avoid.
Yeah, but
There
even
was
But
but still, yeah, I know, but it's
Still.
just
We still have the 1919
yeah.
maneuvers. Yeah.
Knight F4 now.
Knight F1, SC4. Both works. Both works. It's still understandable that they're playing there, but on the other side of the board, it's not understandable.
It's game over.
There is a level that you get so that you don't want to imagine the World Championship match and you're having this.
How I wish we were seeing the faces of the players
I
right now.
wish. Wait, hold on a second. Let me see if I can actually call that one out. If Mr. Toby, it was actually the only way I could get that is through my WhatsApp page. Just give me a second. Let me see if we can load the.
okay, so there is really nothing more to talk about. So we'll just be watching as the players. Different ideas have been proposed. Knight F4, Knight D4.
Oh, sorry about that. This is not supposed to be here.
Okay, Knight D4.
Okay, the video is actually. No, this is done. There was no video. There is no video.
Okay, so Knight F4 was played.
Yeah, that's just.
Okay, there's really nothing more to talk about. I think we can.
We can actually call it quits. So just wait till the game just ends.
Yeah,
for
just
what is
in
it called?
case you want to advertise NFOC.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course, there is nothing to advertise about the Nigerian Friends of Chess. The registration is already closed. People have already registered. Everybody has paid, and except those that want to leave. And the tournament is going to be happening on Thursday, starting on Thursday till Monday, all through the Easter break. It's going to be fun. And there's the Blitz coming up on Wednesday. That's starting tomorrow. The interesting thing about the Blitz is it's going to be a marathon, 13 rounds Blitz. So, this is not the 9-round tournament the easy 9-round tournament that you won at the West.
You call it easy.
No.
You call it easy.
Do you know why I call it?
No, you called it easy.
Do you know why I call it easy?
The whole of West Africa, you call
do you
it
know why,
easy.
Do you know why I call it easy?
Why?
Who won?
The master of slow play.
They are really disrespectful.
That disrespect. No disrespect. No disrespect, please. Okay. But I also see him having a chance of winning this one because guess what? The time country I think is 4 plus 3.
4+3.
I think yes.
Now that's an interesting time.
No, that's interesting time control. So you are also thinking of playing, but please don't play because of him.
Oh, okay.
We want
Don't
to
worry.
stand the chance of
Don't worry.
winning.
I'll leave him out of it.
Yeah, so, okay, thank you very much. So 4+3 is going to be starting, and it's going to be 13 rounds. Like I said, we're going to be getting some. We won't get to live feeds. I'm not promising that. If I want to get to live feeds, I can, but I'm not promising live feeds. But we'll get to replays of each of the games of board one especially, and don't worry, you get to enjoy it very soon. And next is we'll talk about the classical event itself, which is going to run, and we're also going to we've already spoken about this move, so I don't think we're
I just wanted to quickly point out that Torishe's opponent has resigned.
eventually after when it's remain. I think the idea was to
what were the
resign
moves?
when I think the idea is to resign when you only have a king on board. I guess maybe that is the
Okay, 6-6.
so when she realized that she has no more pawns that can mate.
And then there's no stalemate.
No stalemate ideas coming because also pawn. Look at this pawn there.
Yeah,
They'll just
roll
put
it,
the pawn on
roll
D6,
it.
pawn on E6, then they have to move the pawn on E. Lights out. And anyways, so National Friends of Chess, sponsored by chess players like you and me, is going to be happening. Chevron Bagada starting again the 16th. I mean tomorrow, 16th, and then on the 21st of this month. And this tournament also will be ending tomorrow. Yes, because they have 2 more rounds remaining. APT will not be able to join the live stream.
This position is actually quite interesting.
Yeah,
there's a dubious move here.
And we'll talk about the dubious move very soon.
Please,
And finally, finally, we're going to talk about the sponsors for the event, the partners, and quickly let me put it up on the screen for you guys to see the creme de la creme of this wonderful event of ours. And this is where we show you. And guess what? We have FIDE. Thank you very much. The FIDE president, Arkady Vukovic. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
How do you say thank you in Russia?
Well, you'll have to learn that.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much. And the ACC president and our team, that is Sepisolo Pang. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. And the National Sports Commission of Nigeria, thank you very much for the support for making this happen. And to Chess in Slum, I usually like repeating that name. Tunde Onokoya and his team. And guess what? One more time, Tunde Onokoya is looking forward to breaking the world record of the chess marathon. He intends to play 70 hours of chess at the in the USA, New York. I think scheduled for next month. So I think next month it will be happening live and direct. And some of the chess in slum, kids are already there in the US, and they've been dominating the tournaments that they've been playing. Guess what? They've been winning. And in fact, even from the high DP camp, thanks to Vivian, I believe, Ibrahim, wonderful job she's doing out there, and amazing. Some of our representatives are also there playing at those events, and they've been doing well, fantastically well. Again, thank you very much, Chess and Slum. You guys are wonderful. And City Heights Luxury Hotel, where they treat us like luxury. If you look at this place, in fact, I saw one of their lights and I'm like, oh my god, this is so beautiful. I'm even looking forward to getting the light. I asked for the price online. I guess we have to open the donation box on the stream so that you guys can donate and up ourselves. And in fact, also we really need to we need your donations in it. We have to put up an account because Lakpitola wrote to me, he's a fantastic streamer.
We're not looking for donations.
We need honestly we need to donate a very wonderful laptop to him. Seriously.
I have an amazing laptop.
No, his laptop
is talking about.
His laptop
is amazing.
His laptop.
So
moving
on.
No.
Moving on.
We need a gaming laptop. A gaming laptop. So that
the only
he
game I
can
play is chess on Chess
yes.
on Google Chrome.
No, the reason why we
and
need
I watch anime.
No.
I do not.
No, the major reason why we needed that is because of if he wants to analyze and wants to probably check the engine, so his voice won't just disappear. It does crack. You agree on that?
No, I don't.
Okay, anyways, I understand where it's coming from. We are there. If you want live stream of your chess event anywhere, please, you can contact us. We won't overbill you. It's very, very affordable. And we'll give you the best of the best of the best. Thank you very much. And that is it. And we'll go back to the games as fast as possible. And of course, Lakute is itchy to tell us one or two things that's going right there in the game between Suleiman Azumi and CM, I believe. Is it WFM? Sorry, Sana on Prakash. Yeah.
Yeah,
Over to you.
there's absolutely nothing to tell about this position. We are just going through the final moves and just watching, what the black player wants to do.
Yeah.
Why was there was something? Okay, knight f to bishop times.
Bishop times, yeah.
Then bishop times. You
Yeah,
lose the
king.
pawn, but it
But
becomes
it's still,
easier,
Yeah,
to
it's
win.
still, yeah.
I thought this is the way. Like after bishop captures, after the king captures, at
captures.
least this one is you can win it. You don't even have to worry about any other thing. You don't even have to worry about your king.
Well, you still do
Okay,
have
so
to
a
worry.
result has come in actually.
Yeah.
So after
Because-
d2,
Mm,
knight here,
yeah. 19.
knight here, bishop here.
Bishop. Wow, that bishop check. Is
Okay, there was a checkmate in one apparently.
Ah. Oh, bishop
Bishop
F2.
F4.
Bishop F2.
Bishop f4 is mating. Okay, bishop f.
Yeah, bishop F4 and then knight F2.
Oh, I thought okay, the mating one was
Yeah.
here. Okay, yeah, the bishop here.
F4,
Yeah,
Knight F2.
knight
Mates.
f2.
Whoa.
So this
Whoa.
I think
This-
is a huge blow to Azumi's chances of
Yeah.
winning this event. So let's see if and what.
And it's actually a very good one for Sana of Uganda because she's been struggling in the tournament, and this just shows that she knows the game.
Yeah.
And congratulations to her.
Is there any way we can get the is
The
there any-
standing?
yeah, this current standing.
Yes, we should be able to get the current standing.
So that we can just show. Okay.
Yeah, so we'll probably have
Click
to
here.
yeah,
click here.
click
And
there
then-
and players. So this is the current standing with Tennyson, Olisa leading the pack. Abdulrahman has stepped up with the loss to Lina just a few moments ago. Wafa also lost, so that brings her down a bit. And then Torishemua steps up, and then Suleiman losing a chance to keep up with the pack. Sana 2.5, very important victory for her against Suleiman. Then Aemu, the 16-year-old wonder kid from Cote d'Ivoire, still on 2.5, but definitely gaining a lot of rating points from this event. Amako is on 1.5 at the moment, and the president of Chad Chess Federation, Mahamat Achim Bachar, is on 1 point. A very important 1 point, by the way, gotten against the West Africa women's champion of 4-winner Torichemua.
So what would be really interesting would be, so generally in these kinds of tournaments, when you feel like you don't have any chance anymore. So I'm talking about people, seems like just small network issue. Okay, I'm talking about people in the bottom half of the table. They might feel, okay, well, it's not really clear if we have a chance to win, and they might not be super motivated in the last two rounds to put as much
Efforts.
resistance as they were putting in the first round. But also, it might also be interesting that they might play spoiler, and one of them might just be inspired that I've already lost this event.
Yeah.
I'm just going to play freely.
Yeah, exactly.
And so
then the game will turn in their favor.
so we never really know what, because the players in the first top half of the board, they will be feeling some pressure.
Yeah.
They'll be feeling like, we need to win, and maybe they might make some mistakes and overpress. So the next round will be interesting. So let me check
definitely
what the pairing is
for the next round.
round 8.
Penultimate round.
Okay, so while we wait for that, so it'll be interesting to see the pairing for round
But-
8. We have FM
WGM. Okay, FM Abdulrahim.
Abdulrahman playing against Wafa Shruk. So FM Abdulrahman will be white in that game and he'll be looking to win. Wafa, who is half a point behind the WIM Nassr Lina, would try to hold our own and try to just. So Achimbacha, who is at the bottom of the board, is playing Olisa Tennyson. What we know, Achimbacha, it seems like he's always after the West African guys. So it might be interesting. It might be an interesting game there. Nassr Lina is playing against Sulaiman Azumi. So Sulaiman Azumi might not really have a chance to win anymore, but maybe she will be playing for our country,
title.
Our countryman.
Maybe title also.
Okay.
Yeah,
maybe
the possibility of CM title is also there.
Okay.
I believe with 5 points or thereabouts, you should be able to get your CM title.
All right.
But from 6 points and above, you should be looking at the FM title and things like that. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how the final 2 rounds will go.
Ayemu versus Sana, one doesn't really have any bearing on the final ranking, but it will be an interesting.
Definitely. It will definitely be an interesting one to see the battle between the WCM and the WFM. The battle of the young kids, young stars, and that's also a battle between Zone 4.2 and Zone 4.4. So it's definitely going to be an interesting one to follow when the game begins.
And Torisha would be black against Amako McArnold and will be trying to get a win. If she can get a win and power through in the last round, maybe she's going to be the one who would get the slot for getting to the World Cup, and
all things being equal. Because now for her to get a chance, Suleiman, she must not lose any game. Suleiman also has to help in overpowering Nassr Lina. Abdulrahim also has to help to defeat Shruk. So it's the permutations are there, but then things just have to align for that to happen.
So this next 2 rounds will be hot. I'm going to leave you with Wale now. He would explain if we are going to be able to show on stream or not. So
he already mentioned that.
But for the closing remarks.
Okay. Thank you very much. Like what alluded to me, as much as possible, that we would love for the stream to happen. I believe Mr. Lakwete will still be around, and it might be possible. It might be possible for him to be able to do the analysis for the round 8, especially. Of course, he won't be able to for round 9 because I'll just need to talk to one of the organizers and see if we can use his own laptop, and we'll just set his thing up and it goes in live and the audio feed, and he's able to do the analysis. But it's going to be by himself. That's if possible. It's not guaranteed. If not, sorry, we just have to say goodbye from now and just enjoy the games as it is on Lichess, and we believe we've entertained you to the best of our abilities, and we're looking forward to any other event that is going on in Nigeria. And you want to call us
NFOC.
NFOC, yes, NFOC, but live streaming, we're not live streaming NFOC. We are playing.
Why?
We also want to win the top prize.
600K.
600K. It's not a joke. If I can win
joke.
600K, trust me, I'll just need small money. I'm going to buy a camera to continue with the chess icons, that kind of a thing. We have lots of things available that we're working on.
I would just like to say a final big thank you to all the viewers.
Especially the viewer that say you are lit.
Yes. Now.
And he's blushing, really.
Yes.
You can see the redness.
It was a guy that called you lit. That's the guy. Just saying, his name is Jimmy Ogulano. Okay. And he's blinking.
I appreciate when the sense of humor is appreciated. All right. So, like to all the viewers yesterday, the Madam President, AYK, Jimmy Ogulano, FM Faolizo, the fish who is in Mauritania. Where is he? What is it?
I don't want to. There is no fish. There, I know.
Yimika, the
but-
complete fish.
Yimix.
Yeah, Yimika. To all the people we don't know their names who we didn't mention. We
Safi Creative,
Safi Creative,
Ellen Fifame. Ellen, you know Ellen?
Yes.
Ellen is the
yes.
wonderful host of us at Orchid Lekki National Chess Championship. One of the wonderful hosts.
We hope that three of us, our terrible analysis
Our fish analyst.
help to break some things down in this interesting and really intriguing super zonals happening in Nigeria, CTI Hotel.
A wonderful thank you to the Nigerian Chess Federation, especially in person of Prince Adewale Adeyinka, for making this stream happen, because he just let us infuse this. He made the call, and here we are. We've delivered to the best of our abilities.
All right, so thank you very much, and from me here and from the team,
We say bye.
Bye bye.